Welcome to this boring history for sleep, a shocking truth about ancient Rome's sanitation. You are transported to the bustling streets of ancient Rome, where the faint but ever-present stench of garbage and human waste lingers in the air. This narration reveals the shocking yet oddly soothing truth about their sanitation practices and how they dealt with the constant threat of disease, all in a way designed to gently lull you to sleep. As the first light of dawn creeps over the 7 hills of ancient Rome, you find yourself standing at the edge of the Forum Romanum, the heart of the city. The air is cool, but already it carries a faint, heavy scent, a mix of damp stone, lingering smoke from last night's cooking fires, and the ever-present tang of human waste seeping from nearby alleys. The streets are just beginning to stir, with the soft clink of shopkeepers opening their stalls and the distant bray of a mule echoing through the morning mist. You take a deep breath, and the city's aroma settles around you, a strange blend of life and decay that will accompany you on your walk. This is Rome, a place where grandeur and grime coexist, and as you begin your journey, the smells will guide you through its vibrant, odorous streets. You start walking down a narrow street, the cobblestones uneven beneath your sandals. The air here is thick with the scent of rotting vegetable scraps left behind from yesterday's market. Cabbage leaves and wilted herbs lie trampled in corners, their sour odor mingling with the faint sweetness of overripe figs discarded by a vendor. As you pass a small bakery, the warm, yeasty aroma of freshly baked bread offers a brief reprieve, wrapping around you like a soft blanket. But it's quickly overtaken by a sharper smell animal dung, dropped by a passing cart, pulled by a weary mule. The Romans, already bustling about their morning tasks, seem unbothered by the stench, their voices rising in greeting as they sweep their doorsteps, adding dust to the morning air. You pause to adjust your sandal, feeling a faint squish beneath your foot, a reminder of the organic debris that litters even the cleanest streets. Your walk leads you to the Forum Boreum, Rome's bustling cattle market, where the smells intensify. The air is a chaotic blend of life and commerce. The briny tang of salted fish stacked in barrels, the sweet, almost cloying scent of ripe figs, piled high on wooden tables, and the musky odor of livestock huddled in pens. Vendors shout over one another, their voices a steady hum that lulls your senses. Fresh bread, olives from Campania. They call, their wares adding bursts of aroma to the air, olive oil, herbs, and the faint metallic scent of coins changing hands. Beneath it all, though, lies the inescapable undercurrent of decay. Fish heads tossed aside, vegetable trimmings ground into the dirt, and the ever-present whiff of waste from a nearby latrine. You linger by a stall, watching a merchant slice a loaf of bread, its crusty aroma momentarily soothing, but the city's relentless smells pull you onward. Turning into a narrower alley, you enter the shadow of towering insulae, the multi-story tenements where Rome's poorer citizens live. The air here is heavier, trapped by the close walls, and the smell of human waste grows stronger. Chamber pots, emptied from upper windows, leave slick patches on the cobblestones, their acrid odor mingling with the damp, musty scent of stone. A stray dog darts past, its fur carrying the faint smell of whatever scraps it scavenged. The alley is quieter than the market, but not silent children laugh as they chase each other, their feet kicking up dust that carries a gritty, earthy smell. You notice a woman leaning out a window, shaking a cloth, and a faint whiff of stale wine drifts down, a reminder of last night's meal. Yet, even in this cramped, odorous space, life persists, and the Romans carry on with a resilience that's almost hypnotic. By midday, the sun climbs higher, and the heat begins to amplify the city's aromas. You've reached a broader street now, lined with grand domus houses where wealthier Romans live. The air here carries a hint of luxury perfumed oils or incense drifting from open doorways. But it's not enough to mask the street as underlying stench. The dung from passing mules bakes on the warm cobblestones, releasing a sharp, grassy smell that clings to the back of your throat. A cart of cabbages rumbles by, its wheels grinding vegetable scraps into the ground, adding a sour note to the air. The heat seems to thicken every odor, making the city feel like a living, breathing entity. Its smells pulsing with every step you take. You pause by a small fountain, its trickle of water offering a moment of calm. But even here, the faint scent of algae mingles with the city's ever-present waste. Animals are a constant presence in Rome, and their contribution to the city's aroma is undeniable. As you pass a stable, the musky scent of horses and donkeys fills the air, mixed with the dry, dusty smell of hay. A flock of goats, herded toward the market, brushes past you, their woolly odor lingering as they bleat softly. Even the sacred geese of Juno, waddling near a temple, add their own faint, feathery smell to the mix. The Romans rely on these animals for transport, food, and ritual, and their presence is as integral to the city as its aqueducts or forums. You watch a mule driver pause to clean a pile of dung from the street, tossing it toward a nearby sewer. And the act feels like a small rhythmic part of Rome's daily dance. A dance that's lulling you closer to sleep. As you continue your walk, you notice how the seasons shape Rome's smells. In summer, like today, the heat turns every pile of refuse into a festering source of stench, the air heavy with decay. Rain, when it comes, offers little relief, transforming the streets into a muddy slurry of waste and dust that clings to your sandals. In winter, the cooler air traps odors closer to the ground, and stagnant puddles in poorly drained alleys carry a damp, musty smell. Spring might bring a fleeting freshness, with herbs and wildflowers blooming beyond the city walls, but within Rome, the dominant notes remain those of waste and activity. Each season adds its own layer to the city's aroma, a slow, predictable cycle that mirrors the steady rhythm of your breath as you walk. How do the Romans live with these smells? You wonder as you pass a group of citizens chatting outside a shop. Their noses, perhaps dulled by years of exposure, seem to filter out the worst of the stench. A wealthy matron glides by, her tunic scented with lavender oil, a personal shield against the city's odors. Poorer Romans, without such luxuries, carry on regardless, their focus on survival and community outweighing any discomfort. The smells, though pervasive, are just part of Rome's fabric, as unremarkable to its people as the cobblestones beneath their feet. This acceptance is soothing in its simplicity, a reminder that life persists amid the mess, and as you watch the city move around you, your eyelids grow heavier. By late afternoon, you've reached the edge of the Subura, Rome's bustling working-class district. The smells here are a crescendo of everything you've encountered: the sour tang of refuse, the briny scent of fish, the musky odor of animals, and the ever-present whiff of waste. Yet, the sounds of the city, the clatter of carts, the murmur of voices, the splash of a distant fountain blend with these odors into a strange, hypnotic symphony. You lean against a wall, the cool stone grounding you, and let the city's rhythm wash over you. The smells, once overwhelming, now feel like part of a larger pattern, each one a thread in the tapestry of Rome. As you close your eyes, picturing the endless flow of people and scents, the city's hum becomes a lullaby, gently rocking you toward sleep. As the first rays of sunlight filter through the narrow windows of a towering insula in Rome's Subura district, you imagine yourself as a tenant in one of these cramped, multi-story apartments. The air is already warm, carrying the faint, sour smell of last night's waste, collected in a clay chamber pot tucked beneath a rickety wooden bed. Sanitation here is a constant challenge, and as you rise, you hear the soft clatter of your neighbors doing the same, their footsteps echoing on the creaky floorboards. The poor, who fill these tenements, have no private latrines, so the chamber pot is a daily necessity. You lift the heavy pot, its contents sloshing gently, and carry it to the window. With a quick glance to the street below, you tip it out, the liquid splashing onto the cobblestones with a faint, rhythmic patter. A shouted warning, cave fellis. might alert passers-by, but not always, and the street below grows slick with the morning's contributions. The sound fades into the city's waking hum, a soothing reminder of Rome's relentless routine. Stepping outside, you join the flow of Romans beginning their day. The cobblestone street is uneven, littered with debris-wilted vegetable scraps, a broken amphora, and the ever-present clumps of animal dung left by passing mules. Waste, tossed from windows like yours, piles up in corners, waiting for a rare rain or an even rarer street cleaner to sweep it toward the Tiber River. The air carries a sharp, acrid tang, a blend of human waste and rotting food that settles over the city like a heavy blanket. Yet the Romans move through it with practiced ease, their sandals scuffing against the stones, their voices rising in greeting. A baker across the street sweeps his doorstep, sending a cloud of dust into the air, its gritty smell mingling with the faint aroma of freshly baked bread. The rhythm of the morning clatter, splash, shuffle is as predictable as it is lulling, and you feel yourself sinking into the city's steady pulse. As you walk toward the wealthier Palatine Hill, the streets widen and the houses grow grander. Here, in a sprawling domus, a wealthy matron begins her day in a different kind of sanitation struggle. Her home boasts a small latrine, a simple stone seat over a pit that connects to a nearby sewer. The faint gurgle of water from a distant aqueduct suggests a touch of sophistication, but the latrines smell a damp, earthy odor, reminds you that even luxury has its limits. The matron, draped in a linen stola, dabs her wrists with rose water, its sweet scent a personal shield against the city's grime. Her slaves, meanwhile, carry buckets of waste from the household to a nearby collection point, their footsteps heavy on the mosaic floors. The contrast between the poor tenant's chamber pot and the matron's latrine is stark, yet both are bound by the same reality. Sanitation in Rome is a daily, unglamorous task. The thought of these routines, repeated across the city, is oddly calming, like the ticking of a clock. By midday, the streets are crowded, and the sanitation challenges become more apparent. You pause by a busy forum, where merchants and shoppers jostle for space. A pile of refused fish bones, olive pits, and trampled herbs sits near a vendor's stall, its sour smell blending with the briny tongue of salted fish. The Romans, fastidious in their own way, sidestep the mess without comment, their focus on trade and gossip. Occasionally, a street cleaner or sterquilonarius appears, dragging a broom across the cobblestones. The slow, deliberate scrape of the broom, pushing waste toward a drainage channel, adds a monotonous rhythm to the scene. The cleaner's work is never done. As new debris dropped fruit, spilled wine, more dung appears almost instantly. The cycle of mess and cleanup feels endless, and as you watch the broom's steady motion, your eyelids grow heavy, lulled by the predictability of it all. Children, darting through the streets, seem oblivious to the sanitation challenges that define their world. You watch a group playing near an alley, their laughter rising above the clatter of carts. They kick a leather ball, which lands in a slick patch of waste, sending up a faint splash. Undeterred, they retrieve it, wiping it on their tunics before continuing their game. The smell of the alley damp stone, human waste, and rotting scraps doesn't faze them. For these children, the city's grime is just part of the playground, as familiar as the cobblestones under their bare feet. Their carefree energy is infectious, but also soothing, a reminder that life in Rome carries on, unburdened by the mess. As you imagine their laughter fading into the distance, the city's hum becomes a gentle, repetitive drone. Despite the grime, the Romans are surprisingly fastidious, valuing cleanliness in ways that seem remarkable for their time. You pass a public fountain, its basin fed by an aqueduct's steady flow, where citizens stop to wash their hands or fill jugs with water. The soft splash of water and the cool, clean scent offer a brief respite from the street's odors. The Romans' obsession with bathing, though reserved for later in the day at the bathhouses, stems from this cultural ideal. Even the poor, with limited access to such luxuries, scrub their faces at these fountains, their movements slow and deliberate. The city's leaders, too, recognize the importance of cleanliness, occasionally ordering streets to be cleared or sewers to be unclogged. These efforts, while imperfect, reflect a society striving for order amid chaos, a thought that's as comforting as it is monotonous. As the afternoon sun beats down, you follow a slave tasked with waste collection, trudging through the streets with a wooden bucket. The contents, gathered from a nearby insula, slosh gently, their sharp smell mingling with the dust kicked up by his sandals. He empties the bucket into a drainage channel, where it joins a sluggish stream of refuse heading toward the Tiber River. The channel, lined with mossy stones, carries a faint, earthy odor, a reminder of the city's constant battle with waste. Other slaves, carrying similar buckets, move through the streets, their steps heavy but rhythmic. The task is repetitive, unglamorous, and seemingly endless, yet it keeps Rome functioning. Watching their slow, steady progress, you feel a sense of calm, as if the city's sanitation struggles are just another part of its soothing, predictable rhythm. As evening falls, you find yourself back in the Subura, where the day's sanitation challenges are still evident. The streets, though slightly cleaner after a passing rain, remain slick with residue, and the air carries the same familiar mix of waste and life. A group of neighbors gathers outside an insula, sharing a loaf of bread and a jug of wine, their chatter blending with the distant clatter of carts. The Romans, for all their grandeur, live in a world where waste is a constant companion, yet they carry on with remarkable resilience. Their rudimentary systems, chamber pots, latrines, occasional street cleaning, are revolutionary for their time, a testament to their ingenuity. As you imagine their voices fading into the twilight, the city's endless cycle of mess and effort becomes a gentle, lulling hum, carrying you closer to sleep. Picture yourself sitting on a stone bench, the cool surface grounding you as the city settles into night. The smells of the day waste, dust, bread, and water linger in your memory, each one a thread in the tapestry of Roman life. The sounds of the city, from the splash of chamber pots to the scrape of a street cleaner's broom, form a rhythm as steady as a heartbeat. The Romans' daily struggle with sanitation, though far from glamorous, is a quiet triumph, a reminder that even in a world of grime, life persists with unrelenting energy. As you let these thoughts drift through your mind, the city's hum becomes a soft, repetitive lullaby, rocking you gently toward sleep. As the sun rises over ancient Rome, you stand beneath the towering arches of the Aqua Appia, one of the city's great aqueducts. The air is cool, but a faint whiff of damp stone and distant waste lingers, a reminder of the city's odorous undercurrent. The aqueduct stretches into the distance, its stonework weathered yet sturdy, carrying fresh water from far-off springs to feed Rome's fountains and baths. The soft gurgle of water moving through hidden channels fills the air, a steady, soothing sound that blends with the chirping of morning birds. Workers, barely visible in the dawn light, trudge along the aqueduct's base, checking for cracks or debris, their footsteps crunching on the gravel. Despite the faint smell of refuse drifting from nearby streets, the aqueduct stands as a testament to Roman ingenuity, a marvel that keeps the city alive. As you gaze up at its arches, the rhythmic flow of water lulls your mind, inviting a gentle drowsiness. Moving toward the Forum Romanum, you enter the pulsing heart of Rome. The cobblestone paths are already crowded, their surfaces slick with the morning's waste-spilled wine, trampled vegetable scraps, and the occasional pile of mule dung. Yet the Forum is alive with energy, its marble facades gleaming under the Mediterranean sun. Merchants set up stalls, their voices rising in a steady hum as they hawk olives, bread, and bolts of linen. The faint scent of olive oil and herbs cuts through the air, though it's quickly overtaken by the sour tongue of refuse piled in a corner. Philosophers gather near a columned portico, their debates a soft drone that mingles with the clatter of carts and the laughter of passers-by. The filth underfoot doesn't dim the forum's vibrancy. Instead, it's part of the city's rhythm, as unremarkable to the Romans as the sunlight warming their tunics. You pause by a fountain, its gentle splash a calming counterpoint to the bustle, and feel the city's energy wrap around you like a soft blanket. By late morning, you wander toward the Temple of Jupiter, its marble steps gleaming despite the dust kicked up by worshippers. The air carries a faint incense smell, drifting from offerings burning at the altar, but it's laced with the ever-present odor of waste from nearby alleys. The temple, with its towering columns and intricate friezes, stands as a testament to Roman ambition, a monument that seems to defy the city's grime. Priests in white robes move slowly, their chants a low, repetitive hum that blends with the rustle of leaves in the breeze. Devotees offer small clay figurines or handfuls of grain, their movements deliberate and unhurried, as if the filth of the streets is forgotten in the temple's shadow. A stray dog, sniffing at a discarded crust, adds a faint musky scent to the scene. The contrast between the temple's grandeur and the city's mess is striking, yet the Romans carry on, their devotion undisturbed. As you watch the slow procession, the rhythmic chants and faint smells lull you into a drowsy haze. As noon approaches, you weave through the crowded streets of the Subura, Rome's working-class district. The narrow lanes are alive with activity. Children dart between carts, their laughter sharp and fleeting. Vendors shout about their wares, from roasted chestnuts to cheap jewelry. And laborers trudge past, their tunics stained with sweat and dust. The cobblestones are littered with debris fish bones, olive bits, and slick patches of waste, yet the Romans move with purpose, undeterred by the mess. A faint smell of charred meat drifts from a street stall, mingling with the sour odor of refuse and the dusty scent of sun-baked stone. A woman haggles over a basket of figs, her voice rising and falling in a predictable rhythm, while a nearby philosopher paces, muttering about virtue. The street's chaos is oddly soothing, its sounds and smells blending into a monotonous hum that feels like the city's heartbeat. You lean against a wall, the warm stone grounding you, and let the bustle fade into a gentle, lulling drone. Your path leads you to a small public fountain, fed by the aqueduct's endless flow. The water splashes softly into a stone basin, its surface rippling in the sunlight, and the clean, mineral scent offers a brief respite from the street's odors. Citizens gather here, filling clay jugs or splashing water on their faces, their movements slow and deliberate. A child dips her hands in the basin, giggling as droplets fall, while an elderly man rests nearby, his staff tapping rhythmically on the ground. The fountain is a hub of quiet activity, a place where the Romans' resilience shines through. They seek cleanliness despite the grime that surrounds them. The faint smell of algae clings to the basin's edge, a reminder of the city's imperfections. But the steady trickle of water is calming, like a whispered lullaby. As you watch the scene, your thoughts drift, the fountain's rhythm pulling you closer to sleep. By late afternoon, you reach the Forum Boarium, Rome's cattle market, where the day's energy is beginning to wane. The air is thick with the musky smell of livestock and the briny tongue of salted fish. Though the vendors' calls are softer now, their voices hoarse from hours of haggling. A merchant sweeps his stall, sending a cloud of dust into the air, its gritty scent mixing with the faint sweetness of overripe fruit. The market is still vibrant, with colorful awnings and piles of goods, but the pace is slower, the crowd thinning as the sun dips lower. A stray goat bleats softly, its hooves clicking on the cobblestones, and a group of friends shares a loaf of bread, their laughter a gentle murmur. The filth of the day trampled scraps, spilled wine remains, but it's overshadowed by the market's enduring liveliness. As you linger, the fading light and repetitive sounds of the market wrap around you, soothing your senses into a drowsy calm. The Romans' ability to thrive amid their city's filth is a quiet marvel. You pause near a street corner, watching a group of citizens gossiping outside a shop. Their tunics are stained, their sandals dusty, yet their spirits are undampened by the smells or mess. The aqueducts, temples, and forums are more than infrastructure. They are symbols of a society that refuses to be defined by its sanitation challenges. The Romans value cleanliness, seeking it in baths and fountains, but they accept the grime as part of their world, focusing instead on trade, worship, and community. This resilience is soothing in its simplicity, a reminder that life persists in all its messy glory. As you imagine their chatter blending with the city's hum, the thought of their unwavering energy feels like a gentle, repetitive wave rocking you toward rest. As evening settles over Rome, you find yourself back at the Forum Romanum, now quieter under the twilight sky. The marble facades glow faintly, reflecting the last light of day, and the air carries a mix of incense, dust, and distant waste. The aqueducts continue their unseen work, their water gurgling softly in the background, while the streets, though still littered, are calmer now. A lone merchant packs up his stall, the rustle of his cloth a soft, repetitive sound. The city's vibrancy, so vivid in the daylight, lingers in these quiet moments, a testament to the Romans' ingenuity and spirit. You sit on a stone bench, the cool surface grounding you, and let the day's sights and sounds fountains, debates, laughter, and smells fade into a soothing tapestry. The city's rhythm, relentless yet calming, becomes a lullaby, gently carrying you toward sleep. As dawn breaks over ancient Rome, you stand at the edge of the Tiber River, where the Cloaca Maxima, Rome's legendary sewer system, spills its contents into the sluggish current. The air is cool, carrying a faint, earthy scent of damp stone and moss mingled with the distant odor of the city's waste. The entrance to the sewer is a wide, arched opening, its stones worn smooth by centuries of water and time. A soft gurgle echoes from within, the sound of water flowing through the vast network of tunnels that lies beneath the city. Built around the 6th century BCE, the Cloaca Maxima began as an open canal to drain marshy land, but it has grown into a sophisticated underground system, a marvel of engineering that keeps Rome's streets from drowning in filth. As you listen to the steady drip of water against stone, the rhythmic sound begins to soothe your mind, like a gentle lullaby whispering you toward sleep. Following the sound, you imagine descending into the shadowy depths of the Cloaca Maxima, where the air grows cooler and heavier with the smell of wet earth and faint decay. The tunnels, some wide enough for a person to walk through, stretch beneath the city like hidden veins, carrying water and waste in a slow, deliberate flow. The walls, made of volcanic tufa stone, are smooth and slick, their surfaces glistening in the dim light of a worker's torch. The water, drawn from the Tiber and nearby springs, moves steadily, its soft splash echoing in the confined space. You hear the faint scuff of a worker's sandals as he inspects the tunnel, checking for blockages or cracks. His movements are slow, methodical, each step a part of the city's quiet rhythm. The darkness and the repetitive sound of flowing water wrap around you, calming your thoughts as the tunnel's steady hum pulls you deeper into a drowsy haze. By late morning, you follow a group of workers tasked with maintaining the Cloaca Maxima. They gather near a hidden entrance in the forum, their tools, wooden shovels, iron hooks clattering softly as they prepare to descend. The air here carries a stronger smell, a mix of stagnant water and organic debris that clings to the stone steps leading underground. The workers move with practiced ease, their voices low as they discuss the day's tasks, clearing a blockage near the subura, reinforcing a crumbling wall. The sound of their tools scraping against stone is rhythmic, almost hypnotic, blending with the constant gurgle of the sewer's flow. They work in near darkness, guided by the flickering light of oil lamps, their movements slow and deliberate. The Cloaca Maxima, though hidden, is a lifeline for Rome, and these workers, unnoticed by the bustling city above, keep it functioning. As you imagine their steady, repetitive labor, the monotony of their task becomes a soothing drone, lulling your senses. As the sun climbs higher, you trace the path of the water through the Cloaca Maxima, following its flow from the city's heart to its outskirts. The tunnels connect to smaller channels, fed by public latrines, bathhouses, and street drains, each adding its own contribution to the stream. The water carries a medley of debris, vegetable scraps, ash, and unmentionable waste, its faint, sour smell mingling with the damp stone. The system's design, with its gentle slopes and sturdy arches, ensures a steady flow, preventing floods. In Rome's low-lying areas, you imagine standing at a junction where two tunnels meet, the water merging with a soft, rhythmic splash, its sound echoing in the cool, dim space. The Cloaca Maxima's efficiency is a quiet triumph, a testament to the Romans' foresight, and as you picture the endless flow of water, your thoughts grow heavy, drifting like the current toward rest. By early afternoon, you emerge from the tunnels to the streets above, where the Cloaca Maxima's presence is felt but rarely seen. Near a public latrine, you hear the faint rush of water beneath the cobblestones, carrying waste away from the crowded seats. Citizens pass by, their sandals scuffing against the stones, unaware of the engineering marvel below. A vendor at a nearby stall, selling bread and olives, tosses a handful of scraps into a drain, where they disappear into the sewer's flow. The air carries a faint whiff of waste, quickly overtaken by the warm scent of baked bread, but the Cloaca Maxima works tirelessly, keeping the city cleaner than it might be. The Romans, busy with their daily tasks, rely on this hidden system, their lives intertwined with its steady rhythm. As you watch the crowd move past, the thought of this unseen lifeline is oddly comforting, a quiet hum that soothes your mind. As evening settles over Rome, you return to the Tiber's edge, where the Cloaca Maxima releases its flow into the river. The water, now tinged with the city's debris, glints in the fading light, its surface rippling with a gentle, repetitive motion. The air is cooler now, but the earthy smell of damp stone and faint waste remains, a constant reminder of the sewer's work. The Cloaca Maxima, so well constructed that parts of it will remain in use for centuries, stands as a monument to Roman ingenuity. Its tunnels, hidden beneath the bustling city, are a quiet backbone, supporting Rome's grandeur despite its filth. You sit by the riverbank, listening to the soft gurgle of the water, and the steady sound blends with the distant hum of the city merchants closing their stalls, citizens heading home. The rhythm of the Cloaca Maxima, relentless yet calming, feels like a heartbeat, pulsing beneath Rome's vibrant streets. As night falls, you imagine one last glimpse into the Cloaca Maxima's depths. The tunnels are silent now, save for the endless flow of water, its soft splash echoing in the darkness. The air is heavy with the scent of wet stone, a cool, grounding smell that lingers in your mind. The workers have gone, their tools resting until morning, but the sewer continues its work, carrying away the city's waste in a slow, predictable rhythm. The Cloaca Maxima is more than a sewer. It's a testament to Rome's ability to tame its environment, to build a system that endures through centuries. As you picture the water flowing through those shadowy tunnels, the sound becomes a gentle lullaby, its steady cadence wrapping around you. The city above sleeps, but the Cloaca Maxima hums on, a quiet, monotonous song that carries you gently toward rest. As the first light of dawn creeps over Rome's 7 hills, you stand in a quiet street near the Forum, where the remnants of a late-night rain have left the cobblestones slick and glistening. The air is cool, heavy with the earthy scent of wet stone, laced with a faint, sour tongue of waste that clings to the city's edges. Beneath your feet, the Cloaca Maxima, Rome's ancient sewer system, hums with activity, its hidden tunnels channeling rainwater away from the streets, to prevent flooding in the low-lying subura. The soft gurgle of water moving through the underground channels fills the morning air, a steady, repetitive sound that blends with the distant clatter of carts and the faint calls of early vendors. Without this system, the streets would be muddy quagmires, swallowing sandals and halting trade. You picture the water flowing through ancient stone tunnels, carrying leaves, dust, and debris toward the Tiber River, and the rhythmic drip begins to soothe your senses, like a gentle metronome whispering you toward sleep. Following the sound of the water, you wander toward a small drainage grate set into the cobblestone street. The grate, encrusted with moss and sediment, allows a glimpse into the dark tunnel below, where rainwater swirls with a soft, repetitive splash. The Cloaca Maxima's channels, carefully designed with gentle slopes, divert the city's excess water, ensuring that even after heavy rains, Rome remains passable. The air near the grate carries a faint smell of damp earth and organic refuse scraps of cabbage, fish bones, and unmentionable waste swept from the streets above. A street vendor, setting up his stall nearby, tosses a handful of wilted herbs into the drain, where they disappear into the flow with a faint plop. The steady movement of water, carrying away the city's mess, is a quiet marvel, and as you listen to its monotonous gurgle, your thoughts grow heavy, drifting like the debris in the current. As the morning unfolds, you arrive at a public latrine, a stone-walled room where rows of seats accommodate dozens of Romans. Beneath the seats, the Cloaca Maxima's channels work tirelessly, carrying away waste with a constant gurgling rush that echoes in the confined space. The air is thick with the sharp, acrid smell of human waste, softened slightly by the faint scent of vinegar used to clean the shared sponges on sticks. Water from the Tiber and nearby springs flows through the sewers network, flushing the latrines with surprising efficiency, even in the heat of the day. Citizens sit side by side, their chatter a low hum of gossip and laughter, their voices blending with the water's steady flow. A man adjusts his tunic, another shares a joke, and the rhythm of their conversation mirrors the relentless movement of the sewer below. The Cloaca Maxima's role in keeping these spaces functional is unnoticed but essential, and as you imagine the water's soft, repetitive rush, the sound wraps around you, lulling your mind into a drowsy haze. By noon, you find yourself outside one of Rome's grand bathhouses, where the Cloaca Maxima plays a vital role in the city's daily life. The air outside is warm, carrying the faint scent of heated stone, but inside, the bathhouse is alive with the smell of steam and olive oil soap. The drains, connected to the sewer system, carry away used water from the caldarium's steaming pools and the frigidarium's cold basins, their surfaces rippling with each gentle splash. You hear the soft drip of water as it flows into the underground channels, a monotonous sound that blends with the murmur of bathers lounging in the warm air. A slave pours a bucket of water into a drain, its contents vanishing with a faint gurgle, and the cycle continues, keeping the bathhouse clean and inviting. The Cloaca Maxima's efficiency ensures that hundreds can bathe daily, and as you picture the water's steady journey through the tunnels, the gentle hum of the bathhouse becomes a soothing lullaby, pulling you closer to rest. As the sun climbs higher, you follow a group of workers, the Sterquilinari, as they gather near a hidden entrance to the Cloaca Maxima. The entrance, a narrow stone staircase tucked behind the market stall, leads into the cool, damp tunnels below. The air grows heavier, filled with the earthy smell of wet stone and the faint, sour odor of accumulated waste. The workers carry wooden shovels, iron hooks, and wicker baskets, their tools clattering softly as they descend. Their task is to clear blockages, piles of debris, tangled roots, or sediment that threaten the water's flow, and repair crumbling stonework. The sound of their shovels scraping against the tunnel walls is slow and deliberate, a repetitive scratch that echoes in the dim, torchlit space. A worker pauses to wipe sweat from his brow, his breath steady as he pushes a pile of refuse into the current. The labor is grueling, yet essential, and the rhythmic clink of tools and splash of water create a monotonous drone that calms your senses, like a steady heartbeat fading into the background. Moving deeper into the city, you imagine the workers, tackling a stubborn blockage near the Subura, where the tunnels narrow and debris accumulates. The air here is thick, the smell of rotting scraps and stagnant water almost overpowering. Yet the workers press on, their movements methodical. One uses an iron hook to dislodge a mass of leaves and cloth, while another sweeps sediment into the flow with a wooden shovel. The water, briefly slowed, resumes its steady gurgle, carrying the debris toward the Tiber. The tunnel walls, slick with moss and worn smooth by centuries of water, reflect the faint light of their lamps, creating a soft, hypnotic glow. The workers? Voices, low and muffled, discuss the next task, perhaps a cracked stone to repair or a side channel to inspect. Their labor, though unpleasant, ensures the city's survival. And as you picture their slow, repetitive efforts, the sound of water and tools becomes a soothing rhythm, gently rocking your thoughts toward sleep. By late afternoon, you emerge to the streets above, where the Cloaca Maxima's work continues unnoticed. Near a busy market, a vendor sweeps his stall, pushing vegetable peels and dust into a nearby drain, where they vanish into the sewer's flow with a faint splash. The cobblestones, though littered with the day's refuse olive pits, fish bones, and slick patches of waste, are drier than they might be, thanks to the system's ability to manage rainwater and debris. The air carries a faint whiff of refuse, quickly overtaken by the warm scent of roasted chestnuts from a street stall. Citizens pass by, their sandals scuffing against the stones, their chatter a soft murmur that blends with the distant gurgle of water beneath the street. The Cloaca Maxima's channels, hidden below, keep the city functional, and its quiet efficiency is a marvel that goes unnoticed. As you watch the crowd move past, the steady hum of the city and its sewers feels like a gentle pulse, calming your mind. As twilight settles over Rome, you stand near a small fountain, its basin fed by an aqueduct but drained by the Cloaca Maxima's channels. The water splashes softly, its surface rippling in the fading light, and the clean, mineral scent offers a brief respite from the city's odors. A citizen fills a clay jug, the soft clink of pottery blending with the water's gurgle, while a child splashes her hands in the basin, giggling softly. The sewer system, working silently below, ensures that even these small oases remain functional, carrying away excess water and waste. The Romans rely on this hidden lifeline, their daily routines uninterrupted by the floods or filth that might otherwise overwhelm the city. The thought of this quiet, relentless system is soothing, a reminder of Rome's ability to thrive amid its mess. As you listen to the fountain's steady drip, the sound merges with the city's hum, pulling you gently toward rest. As night falls, you return to the Tiber's edge, where the Cloaca Maxima releases its flow into the river. The water, carrying the city's waste, glints in the moonlight, its surface rippling with a soft, repetitive motion. The air is cool, with a faint smell of damp stone and distant refuse. But the sound of the water's steady gurgle is calming, blending with the quiet rustle of leaves along the riverbank. The Cloaca Maxima, with its sprawling tunnels and careful design, is a lifeline that keeps Rome afloat, managing rainwater and waste with remarkable efficiency. You imagine the water flowing through those ancient channels, carrying away the day's debris in a slow, predictable rhythm. The city sleeps, but the sewer hums on, its monotonous song a quiet testament to Rome's resilience. As you sit by the riverbank, the steady cadence of the water wraps around you like a soft blanket, carrying your thoughts gently toward sleep. As the first light of dawn spills across the marshy lands near Rome's 7 hills, you stand where the Cloaca Maxima was first conceived. Centuries ago, in the 6th century BCE, the air is cool, heavy with the damp scent of mud and reeds, a faint whiff of stagnant water lingering from the nearby Tiber River. Long before the city's grandeur, these low-lying areas were swamps, prone to flooding and disease, and the Romans, with their boundless ambition, envisioned a system to tame them. The Cloaca Maxima, a sprawling network of tunnels, would become more than a sewer. It would be a symbol of their engineering prowess. You imagine early engineers pacing these muddy grounds, their sandals sinking slightly into the earth, their voices low as they discussed slopes and channels. The soft rustle of reeds and the distant gurgle of the Tiber create a quiet, repetitive rhythm, soothing your senses as you picture their plans taking shape, like a gentle whisper lulling you toward sleep. As dawn gives way to morning, you envision the engineers gathered in a stone-walled chamber, their wax tablets covered with sketches of the Cloaca Maxima's design. The air carries the faint, dusty smell of chalk and papyrus, mingling with the earthy scent of the nearby marshes. Constructing such a system required meticulous planning. Every tunnel had to slope just right to ensure water flowed smoothly, neither too fast nor too slow. You picture an engineer tracing a stylus across a tablet, calculating angles with a steady, deliberate hand, his movements as rhythmic as the soft scratch of the stylus on wax. The Romans understood water's behavior, using simple tools to measure gradients and map the city's terrain. Their precision, born of patience and repetition, set them apart from other ancient civilizations. And as you imagine their quiet, methodical work, the steady hum of their planning becomes a monotonous drone, calming your thoughts and pulling you deeper into a drowsy haze. By late morning, you shift your focus to the materials that made the Cloaca Maxima possible. The Romans chose volcanic tufa stone, quarried from nearby hills, for its durability and lightness. You imagine standing at a quarry's edge, where workers chip away at the rough, gray stone, their hammers striking with a repetitive clink that echoes across the dusty landscape. The air is thick with the dry, earthy smell of stone dust, settling on your skin like a fine powder. Each block, carefully cut to fit the tunnel's arches, was hauled to the city by mule carts, their wheels creaking in a steady rhythm. The tufa's porous texture, strong yet easy to shape, was ideal for the damp, demanding environment of the sewers. You picture a worker smoothing a block's surface, his hands moving slowly, deliberately, the faint scrape of his tool blending with the distant hum of the quarry. The Romans' choice of materials was a quiet triumph, and as you envision the endless stacks of tufa, the repetitive clink of hammers soothes your mind like a gentle lullaby. As the sun climbs higher, you descend into the imagined construction site of the Cloaca Maxima, where workers labored to transform marshy canals into underground tunnels. The air below ground is cool and heavy, filled with the damp smell of wet earth and the faint, sour tang of standing water. Workers, their tunics stained with mud, wield shovels and picks, their movements slow and rhythmic as they dig through the soft soil. The sound of metal striking earth, a dull, repetitive thud echoes in the confined space, blending with the soft gurgle of water diverted through temporary channels. Engineers oversee the work, their voices low as they direct the placement of tufa stones, each one fitted with precision to form sturdy arches. The process is slow, deliberate, each stone laid with care to ensure the tunnels endure for centuries. You imagine the workers pausing to wipe sweat from their brows, their breath steady as they resume their task, and the monotonous rhythm of their labor wraps around you, calming your senses and pulling you toward rest. By early afternoon, you consider the challenges the Romans faced in building the Cloaca Maxima. The city's uneven terrain, with its hills and valleys, demanded careful planning to maintain the water's flow. You picture engineers standing, Atop a hill, their eyes tracing the landscape, their hands gesturing as they discuss how to connect low-lying areas to the Tiber. The air carries a faint breeze, tinged with the earthy smell of clay and grass, while the distant clatter of construction tools rises from below. In swampy areas, workers battled mud that clung to their sandals, their shovels sinking with a soft squish as they cleared the ground. Floods, common in the rainy season, threatened to wash away their progress, but the Romans persisted, building temporary dams and redirecting water with relentless patience. The sound of their tools, a steady tap, thud, and scrape, creates a hypnotic rhythm. And as you imagine their tireless efforts, the repetitive nature of their work becomes a soothing, lulling your thoughts. Moving deeper into the day, you follow the workers who brought the Cloaca Maxima to life. These laborers, often slaves or freedmen, toiled in the damp, shadowy tunnels, their hands calloused from handling rough tufa stones. The air is heavy with the smell of wet stone and sweat, a faint odor of oil lamps flickering in the darkness. Each worker moves with a slow, deliberate rhythm, hauling stones, smoothing mortar, or clearing debris from the water's path. The sound of their labor, a repetitive clink of hammers, a soft splash of water displaced by their movements echoes through the tunnels, blending with the steady gurgle of the current. Their work, though grueling, was essential, and their quiet focus ensured the system's success. You imagine a worker pausing to rest against a tunnel wall, his breath slow and steady, the cool stone grounding him as he prepares to resume. Monotony of their task, repeated day after day, is calming, and as you picture their steady efforts, the tunnel's hum becomes a gentle lullaby, pulling you closer to sleep. As the afternoon wanes, you shift to the ongoing maintenance of the Cloaca Maxima, a task as vital as its construction. You envision a group of workers, known as sterquillinari, descending a narrow staircase into the tunnels, their wooden shovels and iron hooks clattering softly. The air below is cool and damp, with a strong smell of moss and stagnant water, tinged with the faint, sour odor of waste. Their job is to clear blockages, piles of leaves, cloth, or sediment that threaten the water's flow and repair crumbling stonework. The sound of their shovels scraping against the tunnel walls, a slow, repetitive scratch, blends with the gurgle of water rushing past. A worker dislodges a mass of debris, sending it into the current with a soft splash, and the tunnel's flow resumes its steady rhythm. The work is unglamorous, yet it keeps Rome functional, and as you imagine their methodical labor, the repetitive sounds and smells wrap around you, soothing your senses into a drowsy calm. As twilight settles over Rome, you stand near the Forum, where the Cloaca Maxima's influence is felt but rarely seen. The cobblestones, drier than they might have been, owe their condition to the sewer's ability to manage water and waste. The air carries a faint whiff of refuse, quickly overtaken by the warm scent of bread from a nearby stall, but beneath the street, the tunnels hum with quiet efficiency. You picture the water flowing through those dark, damp channels. It's steady, gurgle, a constant presence in the city's life. The Romans' ability to manage water on such a scale set them apart, allowing their city to thrive despite its filth. The Cloaca Maxima, with its precise slopes and durable tufa, transformed Rome from a swampy settlement into a bustling metropolis. And the thought of this quiet achievement is soothing, like a gentle hum that calms your mind. As you linger in the fading light, the city's rhythm feels like a soft pulse, pulling you toward rest. As night falls, you return to the Tiber's edge, where the Cloaca Maxima releases its flow into the river. The water, carrying the city's debris, glints in the moonlight, its surface rippling with a soft, repetitive motion. The air is cool, with a faint smell of damp stone and distant waste, but the sound of the water's steady gurgle is calming, blending with the rustle of leaves along the riverbank. The Cloaca Maxima's engineering was a marvel that outlasted its creators. with parts of the system still functional centuries later. Its tunnels winding beneath the city were a testament to the Romans' foresight, their ability to plan, build, and maintain a system that tamed their environment. You imagine the water flowing through those ancient channels, its rhythm unchanging, carrying away the day's mess in a slow, predictable dance. The city sleeps, but the sewer hums on, its monotonous song a quiet tribute to Roman ingenuity. As you sit by the river, the steady cadence of the water wraps around you like a soft blanket, carrying your thoughts gently toward sleep. As dawn breaks over the bustling streets of ancient Rome, you stand outside a public latrine, known as a latrina, nestled in a quiet corner near the Forum Romanum. The air is cool, carrying a faint, earthy scent of damp stone, mingling with the subtle tang of waste that lingers in the morning stillness. The latrine's entrance, framed by weathered marble columns, leads to a spacious chamber where rows of smooth stone seats, sometimes as many as 50 in a single room, line the walls, their surfaces polished by years of use. Beneath the seats, a narrow channel of water, connected to the Cloaca Maxima, flows with a gentle, repetitive gurgle, carrying waste toward the city's sewers. A lone citizen, an early riser, settles onto a seat, his tunic rustling softly as he adjusts his position, the sound blending with the faint trickle of water below. The latrine is calm at this hour, its quiet rhythm soothing, and as you imagine the soft flow of the channel, the gentle hum begins to lull your senses, like a whispered lullaby coaxing you toward sleep. As the morning unfolds, the latrina begins to stir with the arrival of Rome's early visitors. You step inside, feeling the cool, smooth texture of the stone seats beneath your fingers, their surfaces worn to a gentle sheen by countless users. The air grows heavier, filled with the sharp, acrid smell of human waste, tempered by the faint, tangy scent of vinegar from a nearby basin where tersoria sponges attached to wooden sticks are dipped for cleaning. A small group of citizens, from laborers to shopkeepers, occupies the seats, their voices rising in a low murmur of conversation. A baker, his hands dusted with flour, shares a tale of a busy market morning, his words punctuated by the soft splash of water in the channel. Below, a scribe, his stylus tucked into his belt, nods thoughtfully, responding with a bit of gossip about a local festival. The lack of partitions, which might seem startling today, is unremarkable to the Romans, who treat the latrina as a place to connect. The steady gurgle of the water and the rhythmic hum of voices create a monotonous backdrop, calming your thoughts as you sink into the scene. By late morning, the latrina is alive with activity, its seats nearly filled as Romans from all corners of the city gather. The air is thick, the smell of waste more pronounced, though the constant flow of water keeps it from becoming overwhelming. You notice a merchant, his tunic stained with market dust, discussing trade with a neighbor, their voices a steady drone that blends with the trickle of the channel. A young boy, sent by his mother, fidgets on his seat, his sandals tapping softly against the stone floor, the sound echoing faintly in the crowded room. The tersoria, passed from hand to hand, are dipped into the vinegar basin with a repetitive splash, their coarse, damp texture a familiar part of the routine. The water below, drawn from the Tiber and nearby springs, flows steadily, its gentle gurgle tying the room together like a quiet heartbeat. The Romans, at ease in this communal space, continue their conversations, their laughter rising and falling like a predictable wave. As you imagine their voices echoing in the stone chamber, the repetitive sounds wrap around you, pulling your mind into a drowsy haze. As noon approaches, the latrina becomes a vibrant hub of social interaction, where Romans weave a tapestry of connection despite the lack of privacy. You picture a wealthy matron, her stola carefully draped, sitting beside a street vendor. There, conversation a soft murmur about the rising cost of figs. The stone seats, cool and unyielding, offer a moment of respite from the midday heat, while the channel below carries away waste with a relentless, soothing flow. A slave, tasked with fetching water, pauses to dip a tersoria in the vinegar basin, the faint splash blending with the hum of voices. A philosopher, his beard flecked with dust, debates the virtues of stoicism with a neighbor, their words slow and deliberate, as if the latrine's rhythm encourages reflection. The air, heavy with the mingled smells of waste, vinegar, and damp stone, is a constant reminder of the space's purpose, yet the Romans' ease transforms it into a place of community. As you envision their chatter weaving through the room, the steady trickle of water becomes a gentle lullaby, calming your senses and inviting rest. By early afternoon, you shift your attention to the workers tasked with keeping the latrina functional. A small group of sterculinari enters, their wooden buckets and brushes clattering softly as they begin their work. The air grows sharper, the smell of waste intensified by their cleaning, but the faint scent of fresh water from a nearby pipe offers a subtle relief. They scrub the stone seats with coarse brushes, the rhythmic scratch of bristles against stone echoing in the now quieter room, as fewer citizens linger during the heat of the day. One worker checks the channel below, ensuring the water flows freely into the Cloaca Maxima, his iron hook scraping gently against the stone with a repetitive clink. Another pours a bucket of water into the channel, its contents merging with the flow in a soft gurgle, restoring the latrine's cleanliness. The task is mundane yet vital, and as you picture their methodical labor, the repetitive sounds and smells blend into a monotonous drone, soothing your thoughts toward sleep. As the afternoon progresses, the latrina welcomes a diverse array of users, reflecting the complexity of Roman society. You imagine a soldier, his armor clinking faintly, taking a seat beside a freedman, their conversation turning to the day's events at the Circus Maximus. A woman, her basket of market goods resting at her feet, chats with a neighbor about a temple ceremony, her voice rising and falling in a predictable rhythm. The stone seats, worn smooth by countless users, bring together rich and poor, citizen and slave, in a shared space where social boundaries blur. The tersoria, dipped repeatedly in the vinegar basin, make a faint, repetitive splash, their coarse texture a familiar part of the routine. The water below flows steadily, its gurgle a constant presence that ties the room together, carrying away waste with quiet efficiency. The air, thick with the smells of waste and vinegar, is a reminder of the latrine's function, yet the Romans' ease is calming. As you picture their interactions, the steady hum of voices and water pulls you deeper into a drowsy calm. By late afternoon, the latrina becomes an unexpected venue for business dealings, as Romans use the communal space to network and negotiate. You envision a merchant, his hands stained with dye, discussing a trade agreement with a fellow vendor, their voices low and deliberate as they haggle over prices for imported cloth. A scribe, his wax tablet balanced on his knee, takes notes for a client, the soft scratch of his stylus blending with the trickle of water below. The stone seats, cool and grounding, anchor the conversations, while the tersoria basin, with its faint vinegar scent, sits quietly in the corner. The water channel, fed by the Cloaca Maxima, flows relentlessly, its gurgle a soothing backdrop to the negotiations. The Romans' ability to conduct business in such an unlikely setting speaks to their practicality, and as you imagine their steady chatter, the repetitive sounds of the latrina voices, water, splashes, become a gentle rhythm, lulling your mind toward rest. As evening settles over Rome, the latrina grows quieter, its seats mostly empty as the city winds down. The air is cooler now, the smell of waste less intense, though the faint scent of vinegar lingers from the day's use. A lone citizen, a shopkeeper closing his stall, sits for a moment, his sigh blending with the soft gurgle of the water below. The stone seats, still warm from the day's heat, offer a moment of calm while the channel continues its relentless flow, carrying away the last of the day's waste. A worker sweeps the floor, his broom scraping softly against the stone, the sound merging with the trickle of water in a monotonous cadence. The latrina, so lively earlier, now feels like a quiet sanctuary, its rhythms unchanged despite the fading light. As you picture the empty seats and the steady flow of water, the gentle hum of the latrina becomes a soothing lullaby, pulling your thoughts toward sleep. As night falls, you stand outside the latrina, its marble entrance glowing softly in the fens. Moonlight. The air is cool, carrying a faint, earthy scent of damp stone, a reminder of the water that flows beneath. The latrinae, with their communal seats and efficient channels, were a hallmark of Roman urban life, a testament to the city's ability to blend practicality with social connection. The water, still gurgling through the Cloaca Maxima's channels, carries away the day's waste in a slow, predictable rhythm, its sound echoing faintly in the quiet street. The Romans' ease in these shared spaces, their chatter and laughter filling the air, reflects a society that thrived despite its challenges. As you imagine the latrina's empty chamber, its seats silent but ready for another day, the steady trickle of water becomes a monotonous song, wrapping around you like a soft blanket, carrying your thoughts gently toward rest. As the first light of dawn creeps over the hills of ancient Rome, you stand before the grand entrance of a Roman bathhouse known as the thermae, its towering marble columns glowing softly in the morning haze. The air is cool, carrying a faint mineral scent of water from the nearby aqueducts, mingled with the earthy tongue of damp stone warmed by the rising sun. The thermae are far more than places to cleanse the body. They are vibrant hubs where Romans gather to soak, scrub, and socialize, spending hours in the company of friends and strangers alike. Inside, a labyrinth of rooms awaits: the steaming caldarium, the soothing tepidarium, and the refreshing frigidarium, each designed to guide visitors through a ritual of relaxation. A soft splash echoes from a fountain just beyond the entrance, its water drawn from the aqueducts, creating a gentle, repetitive rhythm that blends with the distant clatter of morning carts. As you imagine stepping across the threshold, the calming sound of water begins to lull your senses, like a whispered lullaby coaxing you toward sleep. As morning unfolds, you enter the caldarium, the hot room, where a wave of humid, enveloping warmth greets you. The floor, heated by the hypocaust system, a network of underfloor channels carrying hot air from a distant furnace, radiates a gentle, comforting heat through the smooth, tiled surface beneath your sandals. The air is thick with the scent of steam, laced with the faint, oily aroma of olive-based soap used by early Bathhouses. A large pool, filled with steaming water, glimmers in the dim light filtering through high windows, its surface rippling with each soft splash as a Bathhouse adjusts their position. A merchant, his tunic folded neatly beside him, lounges in the pool, his voice a low murmur as he shares news of a shipment delayed at Ostia. Another Bathhouse, a scribe with ink-stained fingers, listens quietly, his eyes half closed in the soothing heat. The faint crackle of the furnace below and the steady drip of condensation from the vaulted ceiling create a monotonous rhythm, wrapping the room in a haze of warmth. As you picture the steam curling lazily upward, the gentle hum of the caldarium soothes your thoughts, pulling you into a drowsy calm. By late morning, you move to the tepidarium, the warm room, where the temperature is milder, offering a gentle transition from the caldarium's intensity. The air carries a softer scent of steam, tinged with the faint, herbal aroma of bath oils dabbed on skin, while the tiled floor, still warm from the hypocaust, feels comforting beneath your feet. The room is busier now, with Bathhouses reclining on stone benches, their voices rising in a steady drone of conversation. A group of friends, their laughter soft and rhythmic, discusses the upcoming games at the Colosseum, their words blending with the faint splash of water from a nearby basin. A noblewoman, her hair adorned with a bronze pin, leans back against the wall, her eyes drifting closed as the warmth lulls her into a state of calm. The tepidarum's gentle heat and the rhythmic murmur of voices create a relaxing atmosphere. And as you imagine the soft glow of sunlight filtering through a mosaic-covered window, the steady hum of the bathhouse pulls you deeper into a drowsy haze. As noon approaches, you step into the frigidarium, the cold room, where the air is crisp and invigorating, a stark contrast to the warmth of the previous rooms. The large pool, fed by fresh water from the aqueducts, glints in the sunlight streaming. Through an open courtyard, its surface rippling with each gentle splash. The tiles, cool and smooth underfoot, offer a refreshing sensation, while the air carries the clean mineral scent of the water, free from the steam of the other rooms. Bathhistas plunge into the pool, their laughter echoing in the open space, while others sit on benches, wrapped in linen towels, their voices a soft murmur of gossip. A young boy, sent by his father, dips his hands in the water, giggling his droplets. Scatter, the sound blending with the gentle trickle of a nearby fountain. The frigidarium's coolness is both energizing and soothing, and as you picture the water's rhythmic ripples, the bathhouse's hum becomes a gentle lullaby, coaxing your thoughts toward rest. By early afternoon, the thermae are alive with social activity, their rooms filled with Romans from every corner of society. You linger in the tepidarum, where a group of merchants reclines on benches, their conversation a steady hum about the price of grain in the markets. The air is warm, the scent of olive oil soap mingling with the faint steam rising from the floor. A senator, his toga neatly folded, chats with a freedman, their voices rising and falling in a predictable rhythm, discussing a new law proposed in the forum. Nearby, a slave uses a strigil to scrape oil and sweat from a Bathhista's skin, the metal tool gliding with a soft, repetitive scrape that blends with the splash of water from a basin. The aqueducts, delivering a constant stream of fresh water, ensure the pools remain clean, their gentle gurgle a quiet backdrop to the chatter. The Romans, at ease in this shared space, weave a tapestry of connection, and as you imagine their voices echoing through the tiled rooms, the monotonous rhythm calms your senses, pulling you closer to sleep. As the afternoon progresses, you notice workers moving quietly through the bathhouse, tasked with maintaining its intricate systems. In a side corridor, the air carries the faint, smoky scent of the furnace that powers the hypocaust, where slaves shovel wood into the fire, their movements slow and rhythmic, a sound of their shovels a dull, repetitive thud blends with the crackle of burning logs, echoing faintly through the underfloor channels. In the caldarium, a worker inspects a lead pipe, ensuring the aqueduct's water flows freely, the soft clink of his tools mingling with the splash of the steaming pool. The air grows heavier, the scent of steam and soot mixing with the faint tang of water. But the worker's methodical labor keeps the thermae running smoothly. Another worker sweeps the frigidarium's tiles, his broom scraping softly, the sound merging with the trickle of water from the pool. The hypocaust's heat and the aqueduct's flow are quiet marvels, and as you picture their repetitive efforts, the sounds and smells wrap around you, soothing your thoughts into a drowsy haze. By late afternoon, the thermae become a haven for leisurely rituals as Romans linger to relax and socialize. You return to the frigidarium, where a group of Bathhistas plays a game of dice on a stone bench, their laughter soft and rhythmic, blending with the splash of water in the pool. The air is cool, the scent of fresh water mingling with the faint aroma of perfumed oils dabbed on skin after bathing. A woman, her hair still damp from the caldarium, shares a piece of gossip about a local poet, her voice low and deliberate, while her friend nods, half dozing in the cool air. The aqueducts, delivering a steady stream of water, ensure the pools remain clean, their gentle gurgle a constant presence that ties the room together. A banhista, wrapped in a towel, stretches out on a bench, his eyes closed as the bathhouses. Warmth and coolness lull him into a state of calm. The atmosphere, with its endless chatter and soothing sounds, is so relaxing that it could easily send you drifting into a nap. As you imagine the banhistas lounging in the fading light, the steady hum of the thermae becomes a soothing lullaby, pulling you toward rest. As evening settles over Rome, the thermae grow quieter, their rooms less crowded as the day's visitors begin to depart. The tepidarium is nearly empty, the air still warm with the scent of steam and herbs, the tiled floor radiating a gentle heat from the hypocaust below. A lone banhista, a shopkeeper closing his stall, lingers in the pool, his sigh blending with the soft splash of water as he adjusts his position. The hypocaust's warmth, pulsing steadily beneath the floor, creates a comforting rhythm, while the aqueduct's water trickles through hidden pipes, its gurgle a faint echo in the quiet space. A worker sweeps the floor, his broom scraping softly against the tiles, the sound merging with the murmur of a distant conversation between two lingering friends. The thermae, so vibrant earlier, now feel like a tranquil sanctuary, their rhythms unchanged despite the fading light. As you picture the empty pools and the steady flow of water, the gentle hum of the bathhouse becomes a monotonous song, calming your mind toward sleep. As night falls, you stand outside the thermae, its marble facade glowing softly in the moonlight. The air is cool, carrying a faint mineral scent of water from the nearby aqueducts, a reminder of the systems that keep the bathhouse alive. Thermae, with their heated floors, flowing pools, and communal spaces, were far more than places to get clean. They were the heart of Roman social life, where friendships were forged, ideas exchanged, and daily stresses eased. The soft splash of water, still echoing faintly from within, blends with the rustle of leaves in the evening breeze, creating a soothing cadence that lingers in the quiet street. The Romans' ability to create such spaces, supported by the ingenuity of aqueducts and hypocausts, reflects their mastery of engineering and community. As you imagine the thermae's empty rooms, their pools silent, but ready for another day, the steady rhythm of water and warmth wraps around you like a soft blanket, carrying your thoughts gently toward rest. As the first light of dawn spills across the cobblestone streets of ancient Rome, you stand outside a public latrine, known as a latrina, tucked near the bustling forum. The air is cool, carrying a faint, earthy scent of damp stone, mingled with the subtle tang of waste that lingers in the morning stillness. The latrina's entrance, framed by worn marble columns, leads to a spacious chamber where rows of smooth stone seats, sometimes as many as 50, line the walls, their surfaces polished to a gentle sheen by years of use. Beneath the seats, a narrow channel of water, connected to the Cloaca Maxima, flows with a soft, repetitive gurgle, carrying waste toward the city's sewers with remarkable efficiency. A lone citizen, an early riser, settles onto a seat, his tunic rustling softly, the sound blending with the faint trickle of water below. The Romans' commitment to cleanliness, evident in this sophisticated system, sets them apart, and as you imagine the gentle flow of the channel, the soothing hum begins to lull your senses, like a whispered lullaby, coaxing you toward sleep. As morning unfolds, the latrina stirs with the arrival of Rome's early visitors, drawn to its communal space for both hygiene and connection. You step inside, feeling the cool, smooth texture of the stone seats, their surfaces worn by countless users. The air grows heavier, filled with the sharp, acrid smell of human waste, softened by the tangy scent of vinegar from a basin where cursorious sponges on sticks are dipped for cleaning. A small group of citizens, from laborers to merchants, occupies the seats, their voices rising in a low murmur of conversation. A baker, his hands dusted with flour, shares a tale of a busy market morning, his words punctuated by the soft splash of water in the channel below. A scribe, his stylus tucked into his belt, responds with gossip about a local festival, his voice blending with the steady gurgle of the water. The lack of partitions, though startling to modern eyes, is unremarkable to the Romans, who value cleanliness and community in equal measure. The repetitive sounds of voices and water create a monotonous backdrop, calming your thoughts as you sink into the scene. By late morning, you move to a nearby thermae, a grand bathhouse where Romans practice their advanced hygiene rituals. You enter the calderam, the hot room, where a wave of humid warmth envelops you, the air thick with the scent of steam and olive oil soap. The floor, heated by the hypocaust system, a network of underfloor channels carrying hot air from a furnace radiates, a gentle, comforting heat through the smooth, tiled surface. A large pool, filled with steaming water, glimmers in the dim light filtering through high windows, its surface rippling with each soft splash as a banhista adjusts their position. A merchant, his tunic folded neatly, lounges in the pool, his voice a low drone as he discusses a delayed shipment. Another banhista, a scribe with ink-stained fingers, leans back, his eyes half closed in the soothing heat. The faint crackle of the furnace below and the steady drip of condensation from the ceiling create a monotonous rhythm, wrapping the room in a haze of warmth. As you picture the steam curling lazily upward, the gentle hum of the caldereum soothes your thoughts, pulling you into a drowsy calm. As noon approaches, you step into the tepidarum, the warm room, where the temperature is milder, offering a soothing respite from the caldereum's intensity. The air carries a softer scent of steam, tinged with the faint herbal aroma of bath. Oils, while the tiled floor, still warm from the hypocaust, feels comforting beneath your feet. The room is busier now, with banhistas reclining on stone benches, their voices rising in a steady murmur of conversation. A group of friends discusses the upcoming games at the Colosseum, their laughter soft and rhythmic, blending with the faint splash of water from a nearby basin. A noble woman, her hair adorned with a bronze pin, leans back against the wall, her eyes drifting closed as the warmth lulls her into calm. The tepidarum's gentle heat and the rhythmic hum of voices create a relaxing atmosphere, and as you imagine the soft glow of sunlight filtering through a mosaic-covered window, the steady hum of the bathhouse pulls you deeper into a drowsy haze. By early afternoon, you move to the frigidarium, the cold room, where the air is crisp and invigorating, a stark contrast to the warmth of the previous rooms. The large pool, fed by fresh water from the aqueducts, glints in the sunlight streaming through an open courtyard, its surface rippling with each gentle splash. The tiles, cool and smooth underfoot, offer a refreshing sensation, while the air carries the clean, mineral scent of the water, free from the steam of the other rooms. Banhistas plunge into the pool, their laughter echoing in the open space, while others sit on benches, wrapped in linen towels, their voices a soft murmur of gossip. A young boy, sent by his father, dips his hands in the water, giggling as droplets scatter, the sound blending with the gentle trickle of a nearby fountain. The frigidarium's coolness is both energizing and soothing, and as you picture the water's rhythmic ripples, the bathhouse's hum becomes a gentle lullaby coaxing your thoughts toward rest. As the afternoon progresses, you notice workers moving through the thermae and latrina, tasked with maintaining their sophisticated systems. In the latrina, a group of stercolinari scrubs the stone seats, their brushes scraping with a slow, rhythmic scratch, while the air carries the sharp scent of waste softened by vinegar. One worker checks the water channel, ensuring it flows freely into the Cloaca Maxima, his iron hook clinking softly against the stone. In the thermae, a worker inspects a lead pipe in the caldarium, ensuring the aqueduct's water flows steadily, the soft clink of his tools mingling with the splash of the steaming pool. In a side corridor, the faint, smoky scent of the furnace powering the hypocaust lingers, where slaves shovel wood into the fire, their shovels thudding rhythmically. The air grows heavier, the scent of steam and soot mixing with the tang of water, but the workers' methodical labor keeps both facilities functional. The Romans' hygiene systems, from water channels to heated floors, are a quiet marvel. And as you picture their repetitive efforts, the sounds and smells blend into a monotonous drone, soothing your thoughts toward sleep. By late afternoon, the thermae and latrina are hubs of ritualistic cleanliness, reflecting the Romans' deep cultural value of hygiene. In the latrina, a merchant dips a tersoria in the vinegar basin, the faint splash blending with the gurgle of the water channel below, as he chats with a neighbor about market prices. The stone seats, cool and grounding, anchor the conversations, while the air carries the mingled scents of waste and vinegar. In the thermae, bathhouses linger in the tepidarium, where a slave uses a strigil to scrape oil and sweat from a bathhista's skin, the metal tool gliding with a soft, repetitive scrape. The air is warm, the scent of olive oil soap mingling with steam, while the aqueducts deliver a steady stream of water, its gentle gurgle a constant presence. A woman, her hair damp from the caldarium, applies perfumed oil, the faint aroma blending with the steam. The Romans' pride in cleanliness is evident in these rituals, and as you imagine their steady, repetitive actions, the soothing rhythm of water and voices pulls you closer to rest. As evening settles, you explore a lesser-known feature of the thermae, early forms of showers, where water cascades from overhead pipes. In a corner of the frigidarium, you picture a bathhista standing beneath a lead pipe, water pouring over their shoulders in a steady, rhythmic stream. The air is cool, the clean, mineral scent of the water mingling with the faint tang of damp tiles, while the sound of the cascading water creates a monotonous patter that echoes in the open courtyard. Another bathhista adjusts the pipe's flow, the soft creak of metal blending with the splash below, their laughter a quiet murmur in the fading light. The aqueducts, supplying this innovative feature, ensure a constant stream, a testament to Roman engineering. The shower's steady rhythm, combined with the faint hum of the bathhouse, feels like a gentle pulse, and as you imagine the water flowing endlessly, the soothing cadence wraps around you, calming your mind toward sleep. As night falls, you stand outside the thermae, its marble facade glowing softly in the moonlight. The air is cool, carrying a faint mineral scent of water from the nearby aqueducts, a reminder of the systems that power both the latrinae and thermae. These facilities, with their running water, heated pools, and early showers, were a testament to the Romans' surprisingly sophisticated hygiene practices, blending practicality with cultural pride. The soft splash of water, still echoing faintly from within the thermae, blends with the rustle of leaves in the evening breeze, creating a soothing cadence. The latrinae's gurgling channels and the thermae's steaming pools reflect a society that valued cleanliness, supported by ingenious engineering. As you imagine the empty rooms, their seats and pools silent but ready for another day, this steady rhythm of water and warmth wraps around you like a soft blanket, carrying your thoughts gently toward rest. As the first light of dawn creeps over Rome's 7 hills, you stand in the narrow, crowded streets of the Subura, a densely packed district where the city's poorest residents live. The air is cool but heavy, carrying the sour, earthy scent of waste mingled with the damp odor of nearby swamps, believed by Romans to emit miasma's foul air, thought to carry disease. The cobblestones, slick from last night's rain, glisten faintly, their uneven surfaces littered with scraps of food and refuse. Beneath the streets, the Cloaca Maxima hums with a soft, repetitive gurgle, carrying away some of the city's waste. Though in the Subura, sanitation is minimal, and the threat of illness looms. A woman coughs softly as she sweeps her doorstep, the sound blending with the distant clatter of carts and the murmur of early risers. Rome's dense population makes it a breeding ground for disease. Yet the city stirs to life, and as you imagine the faint gurgle of the sewers, the soothing rhythm begins to lull your senses, like a whispered lullaby coaxing you toward sleep. As morning unfolds, you wander through the Subura's winding alleys, where the air grows thicker with the smells of unwashed bodies, rotting food, and stagnant water pooling in corners. The Romans, unaware of germ theory, attribute illnesses to miasmas, believing the foul odors from waste and swamps carry sickness. The streets are alive with activity vendors setting up stalls, children darting between carts, their footsteps. A soft patter on the cobblestones. A man, his face pale, leans against a wall, coughing, his breath visible in the cool morning air. Dysentery and typhoid, common in these crowded quarters, spread easily, their symptoms a constant presence. The faint scent of burning herbs drifts from a nearby stall, where a healer prepares remedies to ward off the miasmas. The steady hum of the city voices, footsteps, and the distant gurgle of the sewers creates a monotonous backdrop. And as you picture the crowded streets, the repetitive sounds and smells calm your thoughts, pulling you into a drowsy haze. By late morning, you arrive at a bustling market where healers and herbalists ply their trade, offering cures for the ailments that plague Rome's residents. The air is thick with the pungent scent of crushed herbs, mint, rosemary, and fennel mingled with the faint, acrid tang of waste from a nearby drain. A healer, his hands stained green from grinding herbs, prepares a poultice, his pestle moving with a slow, rhythmic thud against the mortar. A woman, clutching a cloth to her mouth, seeks relief for a fever, her voice low as she describes her symptoms. The healer offers a bundle of herbs and a prayer to Asclepius, the god of healing, the words murmured in a steady, repetitive cadence. The market hums with activity, vendors calling out their wares, their voices blending with the soft clink of coins and a splash of water poured to clean a stall. The Romans' reliance on herbs and prayers reflects their limited medical knowledge, yet their persistence is calming, and as you imagine the healer's steady work, a monotonous rhythm soothes your senses, inviting rest. As noon approaches, you step into a public latrina, where Rome's efforts at sanitation offer some defense against disease. The air is heavy, filled with the sharp smell of human waste, softened by the tangy scent of vinegar from a basin where tersoria sponges on sticks are dipped for cleaning. Rows of smooth stone seats, sometimes up to 50, line the walls. Their surface is cool and polished by years of use. Beneath the seats, a channel of water, connected to the Cloaca Maxima, flows with a gentle, repetitive gurgle, carrying waste away with surprising efficiency. A group of citizens chats amiably, their voices a low murmur about market prices, unfazed by the lack of privacy. The water's steady flow, a testament to Roman engineering, helps mitigate the spread of diseases like dysentery, though the crowded conditions still pose risks. The faint splash of a tersoria dipped in vinegar and the gurgle of the channel create a monotonous rhythm, and as you picture the communal space, the soothing sounds pull you deeper into a drowsy calm. By early afternoon, you move to a nearby thermae, where the Romans' advanced hygiene practices shine. You enter the caldarium, the hot room, where a wave of humid warmth envelops you, the air thick with the scent of steam and olive oil soap. The floor, heated by the hypocaust system, radiates a gentle heat through the smooth tiles, while a steaming pool glimmers in the dim light. Bathhouses lounge in the water, their voices a soft drone as they discuss the day's events. The splash, of their movements blending with the faint crackle of the furnace below. The thermae's sophisticated plumbing, fed by aqueducts, ensures a constant supply of fresh water, reducing the risk of waterborne diseases. A slave uses a strigil to scrape sweat from a banhista's skin, the metal tool gliding with a soft, repetitive scrape. The warmth and steady rhythm of the caldarium are soothing, and as you imagine the steam curling lazily upward, the gentle hum of the bathhouse calms your thoughts, coaxing you toward rest. As the afternoon progresses, you return to the subura, where the lack of sanitation exacerbates the spread of disease. The air is heavy with the sour smell of refuse piled in corners, mingled with the damp odor of nearby swamps, believed to carry miasmas. A child, pale and shivering, sits on a doorstep, her mother wiping her brow with a damp cloth, the fabric cool against her fevered skin. Malaria, common in Rome's low-lying areas, claims many lives, its symptoms a constant threat in the crowded tenements. A physician, carrying a satchel of herbs, moves through the street, his voice low as he offers advice to a worried family. His treatments, herbal infusions, prayers, and occasionally a crude surgical procedure are limited, yet they reflect the Romans' determination to combat illness. The distant gurgle of the Cloaca Maxima, struggling to manage the subura's waste, blends with the soft moans of the sick, creating a monotonous soundscape. As you picture the physician's steady work, the repetitive smells and sounds lull your senses, pulling you into a drowsy haze. By late afternoon, you observe the rituals Romans used to ward off disease, rooted in their belief in miasmas. In a small courtyard, a woman burns a bundle of sage, the smoky, herbal scent drifting through the air, intended to purify it of harmful vapors. Her movements are slow and deliberate, the soft crackle of the burning herbs blending with the faint murmur of a prayer to Apollo, the god of healing. Nearby, a man sprinkles water from a clay jug onto the ground, believing it cleanses the space of miasmas, the soft splash echoing in the quiet street. The air carries the mingled scents of smoke, herbs, and damp earth, a reminder of the city's constant battle against illness. In the thermae, banhistas linger in the tepidarum, their skins scrubbed clean with oils, their voices a low hum as they discuss remedies for fevers. The Romans' rituals, though based on flawed beliefs, reflect their resilience, and as you imagine their steady, repetitive actions, the soothing rhythm calms your mind, inviting rest. As evening settles, you visit a healer's stall in a quieter corner of the market, where the day's patients seek relief. The air is heavy with the pungent scent of crushed herbs and the faint, smoky aroma of incense burned to ward off miasmas. The healer, an elderly man with calloused hands, grinds herbs with a pestle, the rhythmic thud echoing softly in the dim light of an oil lamp. A patient, coughing weakly, sits on a stool, describing symptoms of a lingering fever, while the healer prepares an infusion, his movements slow and deliberate. The soft clink of clay vials and the murmur of his instructions create a monotonous cadence, blending with the distant gurgle of a nearby drain. The Romans' medical practices, limited by their lack of germ theory, rely on tradition and hope, yet their persistence is calming. As you picture the healer's steady work, the repetitive sounds and smells wrap around you, soothing your thoughts toward sleep. As night falls, you stand by the Tiber River, where the Cloaca Maxima releases. Its flow, the water glinting in the moonlight. The air is cool, carrying a faint, earthy scent of damp stone and distant waste, a reminder of the city's sanitation challenges. The soft gurgle of the water, carrying away the day's refuse, blends with the rustle of leaves in the evening breeze, creating a soothing cadence. Rome's dense population and spotty sanitation made it a breeding ground for disease. Yet the city hummed along, its people adapting to the constant threat of illness. The latrines' flowing channels, The thermae's heated pools and the healer's persistent efforts reflect a society that valued hygiene despite its limitations. As you imagine the city settling into sleep, its streets quiet but ready for another day, the steady rhythm of water and resilience wraps around you like a soft blanket, carrying your thoughts gently toward rest. As the first light of dawn creeps over the 7 hills of ancient Rome, you stand in the narrow, crowded alleys of the Subura, where the city's poorest residents face the daily challenge of maintaining hygiene. The air is cool but heavy, carrying the sour, earthy scent of waste piled in corners, mingled with the damp odor of mud from last night's rain. The cobblestone streets, slick and uneven, are littered with scraps of food, broken pottery, and refuse, a stark reminder of the sanitation struggles in this densely packed district. Beneath the streets, the Cloaca Maxima hums with a soft, repetitive gurgle, carrying away some of the city's waste. But in the Subura, where access to public facilities is limited, the threat of contamination looms. A woman sweeps her doorstep, her broom scraping softly against the stones, the sound blending with the distant clatter of early carts. The Romans' battle for cleanliness was a daily ordeal, yet their city stirred to life, and as you imagine the faint gurgle of the sewers, the soothing rhythm begins to lull your senses, like a whispered lullaby coaxing you toward sleep. As morning unfolds, you wander to a nearby public latrina, one of Rome's practical solutions to the hygiene challenges faced by the poor. The air inside is heavy, filled with the sharp, acrid smell of human waste, softened by the tangy scent of vinegar from a basin, where tersoria sponges on sticks are dipped for cleaning. Rows of smooth stone seats, sometimes up to 50, line the walls, their surfaces cool and polished by years of use. Beneath the seats, a channel of water, connected to the Cloaca Maxima, flows with a gentle, repetitive gurgle, carrying waste away with surprising efficiency. A group of laborers, their tunics stained with market dust, occupies the seats, their voices a low murmur as they discuss the day's work. The latrina, though lacking privacy, offers a vital service for those without private facilities, and the steady splash of a tersoria dipped in vinegar blends with the water's flow, creating a monotonous rhythm. As you picture the communal space, the soothing sounds calm your thoughts, pulling you into a drowsy haze. By late morning, you shift your gaze to a wealthy villa on the Palatine Hill, where the elite enjoy private latrines, a stark contrast to the Subura's conditions. The air in the villa's latrine is cooler, with a faint scent of fresh water from a private pipe fed by an aqueduct. The single stone seat, carved with intricate patterns, is smooth and cool to the touch. It's private, setting a luxury few can afford. A slave pours water into a small channel beneath the seat, the soft splash echoing in the quiet room, ensuring waste flows directly to the sewers. The villa's owner, a senator, adjusts his toga as he leaves, his footsteps a soft patter on the mosaic floor. The air carries a subtle aroma of perfumed oils, a reminder of the wealth that enables such cleanliness. The contrast between private and public facilities highlights Rome's social divide, yet the steady flow of water in both is a quiet marvel. As you imagine the gentle trickle in the villa, the monotonous sound soothes your senses, inviting rest. As noon approaches, you arrive at a public fountain, one of Rome's ingenious solutions to provide clean drinking water and reduce contamination risks. The fountain, carved from marble, stands in a bustling square, its basin filled with clear water from a nearby aqueduct. The air carries the fresh, mineral scent of the water, a stark contrast to the sour odor of nearby streets. Citizens gather with clay jugs, their voices a soft murmur as they fill their vessels, the water splashing gently with each pour. A child dips her hands in the basin, giggling as droplets scatter, the sound blending with the fountain's steady trickle. The Romans' aqueducts, stretching miles to bring clean water to the city, reflect their understanding of hygiene's importance, even without modern science. A guard, tasked with enforcing regulations against waste dumping, patrols nearby. His footsteps a slow, rhythmic thud. As you picture the fountain's endless flow, the soothing rhythm calms your mind, coaxing you toward sleep. By early afternoon, you return to the Subura's streets, where the disposal of waste poses a constant hygiene challenge. The air is thick with the sour smell of refuse tossed from tenement windows, mingling with the damp odor of stagnant puddles. A cart, piled high with waste, creaks through the alley, its wheels scraping against the cobblestones, the sound blending with the faint gurgle of a nearby drain. The waste, often dumped into the Tiber or makeshift pits, risks contaminating water sources, a persistent threat to health. A woman empties a bucket into the street, the soft splash echoing briefly before the liquid seeps into the stones. The Romans' regulations against such practices, enforced by city officials, aim to limit contamination, but enforcement is uneven, especially in poorer areas. The distant hum of the Cloaca Maxima, struggling to manage the city's refuse, creates a monotonous backdrop, and as you imagine the crowded streets, the repetitive smells and sounds lull your thoughts into a drowsy calm. As the afternoon progresses, you observe workers tasked with maintaining Rome's hygiene infrastructure. In a latrina, a group of sterquilinarii scrubs the stone seats, their brushes scraping with a slow, rhythmic scratch, while the air carries the sharp scent of waste softened by vinegar. One worker checks the water channel, ensuring it flows freely. Into the Cloaca Maxima, his iron hook clinking softly against the stone. In a nearby fountain, another worker inspects a lead pipe, the soft clink of his tools blending with the trickle of water. The air grows heavier, the scent of damp stone mingling with the faint tang of fresh water. But the workers' methodical labor keeps the systems functional. Their efforts, though often unnoticed, are vital to Rome's health, and the steady rhythm of their tools scrape, clink, splash creates a soothing cadence. As you picture their repetitive tasks, the monotonous sounds and smells wrap around you, calming your senses toward sleep. By late afternoon, you follow a city guard patrolling the streets, enforcing regulations to limit waste dumping. The air is warm, carrying the sour smell of refuse from a nearby alley, where a merchant sweeps his stall, his broom scraping softly against the cobblestones. The guard, his voice low and deliberate, reprimands a man for tossing waste into a drain, the faint splash of the offending bucket echoing briefly. The Romans' rules, inscribed on stone tablets, aim to protect water sources like the Tiber, though violations are common in crowded districts. A woman fills her jug at a fountain, the water's gentle trickle a reminder of the city's efforts to provide clean supplies. The guard's footsteps, a steady thud on the stones, blend with the distant gurgle of the sewers, creating a monotonous rhythm. The Romans' attempts to enforce cleanliness, though imperfect, reflect their understanding of hygiene's importance. And as you imagine the guard's slow patrol, the soothing cadence pulls you closer to rest. As evening settles, you enter a thermae, where Rome's hygiene solutions shine for those who can access them. In the tepidarum, the air is warm, filled with the scent of steam and olive oil soap, while the tiled floor, heated by the hypocaust, radiates a gentle warmth. Bathhouses lounge on benches, their voices a soft drone as they discuss the day's events, the splash of water from a nearby basin blending with their chatter. A slave uses a strigil to scrape sweat from a bathhouse's skin, the metal tool gliding with a soft, repetitive scrape. The aqueducts, supplying fresh water, ensure the pools remain clean, their gentle gurgle a constant presence. The thermae offer a sanctuary from the city's filth, and the Romans' pride in these facilities reflects their commitment to health. As you picture the steam curling lazily upward, The steady hum of the bathhouse soothes your thoughts, inviting a drowsy calm. As night falls, you stand by the Tiber River, where the Cloaca Maxima releases its flow, the water glinting in the moonlight. The air is cool, carrying a faint, earthy scent of damp stone and distant waste, a reminder of Rome's ongoing hygiene challenges. The soft gurgle of the water, carrying away the day's refuse, blends with the rustle of leaves in the evening breeze, creating a soothing cadence. The Roman solutions, public latrines, fountains, and regulations, were imperfect but remarkable, reflecting an understanding of cleanliness's link to health, even without modern science. The city's resilience, despite its struggles, hums through the night, its streets quiet but ready for another day. As you imagine the Tiber's steady flow and the distant trickle of fountains, a monotonous rhythm wraps around you like a soft blanket, carrying your thoughts gently toward rest. As the first light of dawn spills across the hills of ancient Rome, you stand outside a valetudinarium, a hospital built to care for soldiers and, in time, civilians, nestled near a military camp on the city's outskirts. The air is cool, carrying a faint herbal scent of crushed mint and rosemary, used to purify the rooms within. The stone walls, weathered but sturdy, frame a modest entrance where a physician, his tunic slightly creased, prepares for the day's patients. Inside, rows of simple wooden beds line the main hall, their straw mattresses rustling softly as a soldier shifts in his sleep. A soft, repetitive clink echoes as a slave arranges clay vials of herbal remedies on a wooden shelf. The Romans were pioneers in public health, and the valetudinarium stands as a testament to their organized care. The faint hum of the waking city blends with the rustle of the physician's preparations, and as you imagine the quiet rhythm of the hospital, the soothing cadence begins to lull your senses like a whispered lullaby coaxing you toward sleep. As morning unfolds, you step into the physician's quarters within the valetudinarium, where a trained medicus pores over a scroll, its parchment rough and slightly yellowed, inscribed with the medical wisdom of Galen. The air carries the faint, musty scent of ink and papyrus, mingled with the herbal aroma of a nearby brazier burning sage to ward off miasmas. The physician's stylus moves with a soft, repetitive scratch, documenting a soldier's fever, his observations slow and deliberate, reflecting the meticulous care of Roman medicine. A candle flickers, casting a dim, wavering light across the scroll, its wax dripping with a faint, rhythmic patter. Outside, the distant gurgle of a nearby aqueduct, supplying fresh water to the hospital, blends with the soft murmur of a nurse tending to a patient. The Romans' commitment to record keeping, preserving treatments for future generations, is a quiet marvel, and as you picture the physician's steady work, the monotonous sounds calm your thoughts, pulling you into a drowsy haze. By late morning, you walk along the towering arches of an aqueduct, one of Rome's greatest public health achievements, stretching miles to bring fresh water to the city. The air is crisp, carrying the clean, mineral scent of water cascading through the stone channels above. The aqueduct's surface, smoothed by years of wind and rain, feels cool under your fingers, its blocks fitted with precision. A soft, repetitive gurgle echoes as water flows steadily toward fountains, bathhouses, and latrines, reducing the risk of waterborne diseases. A worker, his tunic dusted with stone, inspects a section of the channel, his hammer tapping softly against the masonry, the sound blending with the water's flow. Citizens below fill clay jugs at a fountain, their voices a low murmur, the splash of water a constant soothing rhythm. The government's investment in aqueducts reflects a deep understanding of hygiene's importance, and as you imagine the endless flow of water, the gentle cadence soothes your senses, inviting rest. As noon approaches, you return to the valetudinarium, where physicians tend to a growing number of patients. The air is warm, filled with the pungent scent of herbal poultices and the faint, smoky aroma of incense burned to purify the space. A soldier, his arm bandaged, lies on a bed, the straw mattress rustling softly as he shifts, his breath steady but weak. A physician applies a mixture of honey and herbs to a wound, his hands moving with a slow, repetitive motion, the faint squish of the poultice blending with the clink of a clay vial. Another medicus murmurs a prayer to Asclepius, the god of healing, his voice low and rhythmic, echoing in the quiet hall. The valetudinarium's organized care, with trained staff and documented treatments, is a cornerstone of Roman public health. And as you picture the physician's steady work, the monotonous sounds and smells lull your thoughts, coaxing you toward sleep. By early afternoon, you stand near the Cloaca Maxima, Rome's great sewer system, another vital public health measure. The air carries a faint, earthy scent of damp stone, mingled with the sour tang of waste flowing through the underground channels. The stone walls, slick with moisture, echo with a soft, repetitive gurgle as water carries refuse toward the Tiber River. A worker, his tunic stained with mud, clears debris from a drain, his iron hook scraping softly against the stone, the sound blending with the water's flow. The sewers, though not perfect, reduce the accumulation of waste in the streets, mitigating the spread of diseases like dysentery. A faint splash echoes as another worker pours a bucket of water into the channel, ensuring its steady flow. The Romans' investment in sanitation infrastructure is a quiet achievement, and as you imagine the endless gurgle of the Cloaca Maxima, the soothing rhythm calms your mind, pulling you into a drowsy haze. As the afternoon progresses, you visit a small library where medical texts, including those of Galen, are stored, their wisdom guiding Rome's physicians. The air is cool and musty, filled with the faint scent of parchment and ink, as a scribe copies a scroll, his stylus scratching softly against the surface. The shelves, lined with rolls of papyrus, rustle faintly as a breeze passes through an open window, blending with the distant gurgle of a nearby fountain. Galen's texts, detailing treatments from herbal remedies to surgical techniques, emphasize hygiene's role in health, their pages filled with meticulous observations. A physician, studying a scroll, murmurs notes to himself, his voice a low, repetitive hum that echoes in the quiet room. The Romans' dedication to documenting medical knowledge is a cornerstone of their public health system. And as you picture the scribe's steady work, the monotonous sounds and smells wrap around, you soothing your senses toward sleep. By late afternoon, the valetudinarium opens its doors to civilians, expanding its role beyond military care. The air is warm, carrying the herbal scent of poultices and the faint tongue of sweat from patients waiting in the hall. A woman, clutching a cloth to her chest, describes a fever to a physician, her voice low and steady, blending with the soft rustle of straw mattresses. The physician, trained in Galen's methods, applies a compress, its damp fabric cool against the patient's skin, the faint drip of water echoing in the quiet room. A slave refills a basin with water from an aqueduct-fed pipe, the soft splash blending with the clink of clay vials on a shelf. The valetudinarium's expansion to civilian care reflects Rome's growing commitment to public health. And as you imagine the physician's repetitive tasks, the soothing rhythm of their work calms your thoughts, inviting rest. As evening settles, you stand at the source of an aqueduct, where water flows from a distant spring into the city's channels. The air is cool, carrying the clean, mineral scent of fresh water, a stark contrast to the city's odors. The stone channel, smoothed by years of flow, echoes with a soft, repetitive gurgle, the water glinting in the fading light. A worker inspects a valve, his tools clinking softly, the sound blending with the water's steady flow. The aqueducts, meticulously maintained, supply clean water to fountains, bathhouses, and latrines, reducing the risk of disease. A faint murmur of voices drifts from a nearby village, where citizens praise the water's clarity, their words a low, rhythmic The Romans' engineering prowess ensuring a steady supply of clean water is a quiet triumph, and as you picture the endless flow, the soothing cadence pulls you closer to sleep. As night falls, you stand by the Tiber River, where the Cloaca Maxima releases its flow, the water glinting in the moonlight. The air is cool, carrying a faint, earthy scent of damp stone, a reminder of the sewers and aqueducts that underpin Rome's public health. The soft gurgle of the water, carrying away the day's refuse, blends with the rustle of leaves in the evening breeze, creating a soothing cadence. The Romans' valetudinaria, medical texts, aqueducts, and sewers, though rudimentary, laid the groundwork for modern public health, reflecting a society that valued health despite its limitations. The city's resilience, documented in countless scrolls, hums through the night, its streets quiet but ready for another day. As you imagine the Tiber's steady flow and the distant clink of a physician's tools, the monotonous rhythm wraps around you like a soft blanket, carrying your thoughts gently toward rest. As the first light of dawn spills across the 7 hills of ancient Rome, you stand near the entrance of the Cloaca Maxima, the great sewer system that has carried the city's waste for centuries. The air is cool, carrying a faint, earthy scent of damp stone, mingled with the subtle tongue of water flowing through the ancient channels below. The massive stone arches, weathered by time, stand resolute, their surfaces slick with moisture and smoothed by years of use. Beneath the ground, the Cloaca Maxima hums with a soft, repetitive gurgle, its waters rushing toward the Tiber River, a quiet testament to Roman engineering. A lone worker, his tunic dusted with earth, inspects a drain, his iron hook scraping softly against the stone, the sound blending with the water's steady flow. The Roman sanitation systems, beginning with this monumental sewer, left a lasting mark on the world, and as you imagine the gentle gurgle echoing through the ages, the soothing rhythm begins to lull your senses, like a whispered lullaby, coaxing you toward sleep. As morning unfolds, you walk along the towering arches of the Aqua Appia, one of Rome's earliest aqueducts, stretching across the rolling hills to bring fresh water to the city. The air carries the clean, mineral scent of water cascading through. The stone channels above, their surfaces rough yet precisely fitted, a testament to Roman craftsmanship. The soft, repetitive gurgle of the water echoes faintly, blending with the distant chirping of birds and the rustle of leaves in the morning breeze. A worker, his hands calloused from years of labor, taps a stone block with a hammer, the soft clink resonating in the quiet dawn. The aqueducts, with their gentle slopes and sturdy arches, influenced water management for centuries, their design a blueprint for future civilizations. As you picture the water flowing endlessly toward Rome's fountains and bathhouses, the monotonous sound calms your thoughts, pulling you into a drowsy haze. By late morning, you arrive at a construction site where Roman engineers are building a new section of the Cloaca Maxima, using their innovative concrete and arch techniques. The air is thick with the dusty scent of lime and volcanic ash, key ingredients in Roman concrete, which hardens into a durable, almost eternal material. Workers mix the concrete in large wooden troughs, their shovels scraping with a slow, rhythmic thud, the sound blending with the faint splash of water poured to achieve the perfect consistency. The arches, carefully shaped with wooden molds, rise steadily, their curves a marvel of stability and elegance. A foreman, his voice low and deliberate, directs the placement of a stone block, a soft clank of tools echoing in the warm air. The Romans' engineering techniques, refined over centuries, became the foundation for modern infrastructure. And as you imagine the workers' steady labor, the repetitive sounds and smells soothe your senses, inviting rest. As noon approaches, You stand by a public fountain in a bustling Roman square, its marble basin filled with clear water from an aqueduct, a direct legacy of Rome's sanitation innovations. The air carries the fresh, mineral scent of the water, a stark contrast to the sour odor of nearby streets. Citizens gather with clay jugs, their voices a soft murmur as they fill their vessels, the water splashing gently with each pour. A child dips her hands in the basin, giggling as droplets scatter, the sound blending with the fountain's steady trickle. The aqueducts, stretching miles to deliver clean water, reduce disease, and improved urban life, their influence echoing in later cities across Europe. A worker polishes the fountain's edge, his cloth rubbing with a soft, repetitive scrape, the sound merging with the water's flow. As you picture the fountain's endless trickle, the soothing rhythm calms your mind, coaxing you toward sleep. By early afternoon, you descend into a maintenance tunnel of the Cloaca Maxima, where workers ensure the sewer's continued function, a testament to its remarkable durability. The air is cool and damp, filled with the earthy scent of wet stone and the faint tongue of flowing water. The massive stone walls, some still standing after centuries, echo with a soft, repetitive gurgle as water rushes through the channel, carrying waste toward the Tiber. A worker, his torch casting a dim, flickering light, clears debris with an iron hook, its soft scrape blending with the water's flow. The Romans' use of concrete, resistant to water and time, ensures that some sewers remain functional even today, a quiet marvel that archaeologists admire. The steady rhythm of the workers' tools and the water's gurgle creates a monotonous backdrop, and as you imagine the ancient sewer's enduring flow, the soothing cadence lulls your thoughts into a drowsy calm. As the afternoon progresses, you visit a site where modern archaeologists uncover a section of a Roman aqueduct, its arches partially buried, but still intact. The air carries the dusty scent of earth and ancient stone, mingled with the faint, grassy aroma of the surrounding fields. The archaeologist's tools brushes and small picks scrape softly against the stone, the sound blending with the rustle of wind through nearby trees. The aqueduct's concrete, still solid after centuries, glints with embedded pebbles, its surface rough yet enduring. A scholar, her voice low and deliberate, notes the precise angle of the arch, her words a soft murmur that echoes in the quiet. Sight. The Romans' engineering, rediscovered through careful excavation, continues to inspire modern water systems. And as you picture the archaeologist's meticulous work, the repetitive sounds and smells wrap around you, soothing your senses. Toward sleep. By late afternoon, you enter a thermae, where the legacy of Roman sanitation shines in the form of aqueduct-fed pools and sophisticated plumbing. The air is warm, filled with the scent of steam and olive oil soap, while the tiled floor, heated by a hypocaust system, radiates a gentle warmth. Bathhouses lounge in the tepidarium, their voices a soft drone as they discuss the day's events, the splash of water from a nearby basin blending with their chatter. A slave uses a strigil to scrape sweat from a bathhouse skin, the metal tool gliding with a soft, repetitive scrape. The aqueducts, supplying fresh water, ensure the pools remain clean, their gentle gurgle a constant presence. The bathhouses, inspired by Rome's sanitation systems, influenced public hygiene practices. For centuries, and as you imagine the steam curling lazily upward, the steady hum of the thermae calms your thoughts, inviting a drowsy calm. As evening settles, you stand by the Tiber River, where the Cloaca Maxima releases its flow, the water glinting in the fading light. The air is cool, carrying a faint, earthy scent of damp stone and distant waste, a reminder of the sewers. Tireless work. The soft gurgle of the water, carrying away the city's refuse, blends with the rustle of leaves in the evening breeze, creating a soothing cadence. The Roman sanitation systems, from the Cloaca Maxima to the aqueducts, were a quiet but profound achievement, shaping urban planning long after their empire fell. A distant worker, repairing a drain, taps his hammer softly, the sound echoing faintly along the riverbank. The legacy of Roman engineering, still visible in modern sewers and water systems, hums through the centuries, and as you picture the Tiber's steady flow, the monotonous rhythm pulls you closer to rest. As night falls, you stand amid the ruins of an ancient aqueduct, its arches silhouetted against the moonlit sky. The air is cool, carrying the faint scent of earth and ancient stone, a reminder of the enduring legacy of Roman sanitation. The soft rustle of grass and the distant gurgle of water from a nearby stream echo the systems that once sustained Rome. The Cloaca Maxima, aqueducts and concrete arches, built with meticulous care, inspired sewer systems, water management, and infrastructure across centuries, their durability a quiet marvel. Archaeologists, even today, marvel at the Romans' ingenuity, their discoveries a testament to a civilization that shaped the world. As you imagine the silent arches standing, through time, the steady rhythm of their legacy wraps around you like a soft blanket, carrying your thoughts gently toward rest. As the first light of dawn creeps over the 7 hills of ancient Rome, you stand near the entrance of the Cloaca Maxima, the great sewer system that laid the foundation for modern sanitation. The air is cool, carrying a faint, earthy scent of damp stone mingled with the subtle tongue of water flowing through the ancient channels below. The massive stone arches, weathered by centuries, stand resolute, their surfaces slick with moisture and smoothed by the passage of time. Beneath the ground, the Cloaca Maxima hums with a soft, repetitive gurgle, its waters rushing toward the Tiber River, a quiet testament to Roman ingenuity. A worker, his tunic dusted with earth, inspects a drain, his iron hook scraping softly. Against the stone, the sound blending with the water's steady flow. The concept of centralized waste management, born in these ancient tunnels, echoes in today's urban infrastructure, and as you imagine the gentle gurgle resonating through the ages, the soothing rhythm begins to lull your senses, like a whispered lullaby coaxing you toward sleep. As morning unfolds, you walk along the towering arches of the Aqua Appia, one of Rome's earliest aqueducts, stretching across the hills to bring fresh water to the city. The air carries the clean, mineral scent of water, cascading through the stone channels above. Their surface is rough, yet precisely fitted, a marvel of Roman engineering. The soft, repetitive gurgle of the water echoes faintly, blending with the distant chirping of birds and the rustle of leaves in the morning breeze. A worker, his hands calloused from labor, taps a stone block with a hammer, the soft clink resonating in the quiet dawn. The aqueducts, with their gentle slopes and sturdy arches, inspired water management systems for centuries, their design studied by modern engineers for its efficiency. As you picture the water flowing endlessly toward Rome's fountains and bathhouses, a monotonous sound calms your thoughts, pulling you into a drowsy haze. By late morning, you arrive at a construction site where Roman engineers are building a new aqueduct using their innovative concrete and arch techniques. The air is thick with the dusty scent of lime and volcanic ash, the key ingredients in Roman concrete, which hardens into a durable, water-resistant material. Workers mix the concrete in large wooden troughs, their shovels scraping with a slow, rhythmic thud, the sound blending with the faint splash of water poured to achieve the perfect consistency. The arches, carefully shaped with wooden molds, rise steadily, their curves a testament to stability and elegance. A foreman, his voice low and deliberate, directs the placement of a stone block, the soft clank of tools echoing in the warm air. These techniques, refined by the Romans, became blueprints for modern infrastructure, and as you imagine the workers' steady labor, the repetitive sounds and smells soothe your senses, inviting rest. As noon approaches, you shift to a modern water treatment plant where the legacy of Roman aqueducts lives on in centralized water management. The air is cool, filled with the clean, metallic scent of filtered water flowing through pipes, a distant echo of the aqueduct's stone channels. The hum of machinery, a soft, repetitive drone, blends with the faint gurgle of water moving through. Treatment tanks. Engineers, their clipboards rustling softly, monitor gauges, their movements deliberate and methodical, much like the Roman workers who maintained the aqueducts. The concept of delivering clean water to urban populations, pioneered by Rome, is evident in the plant's intricate systems, designed for efficiency and durability. A worker adjusts a valve, the soft clink of metal resonating faintly, a sound not unlike the tools of ancient Rome. As you picture the steady flow of water through modern pipes, the soothing rhythm calms your mind, coaxing you toward sleep. By early afternoon, you descend into a maintenance tunnel of the Cloaca Maxima, where workers ensure the sewer's continued function, a testament to its remarkable durability. The air is cool and damp, filled with the earthy scent of wet stone, and the faint tongue of flowing water. The massive stone walls, some still standing after centuries, echo with a soft, repetitive gurgle as water rushes through the channel, carrying waste toward the Tiber. A worker, his torch casting a dim, flickering light, clears debris with an eye. Iron hook, its soft scrape blending with the water's flow. The Romans' use of concrete, resistant to water and time, ensures that some sewers remain functional even today, a marvel studied by modern engineers. The steady rhythm of the workers' tools and the water's gurgle creates a monotonous backdrop. And as you imagine the ancient sewer's enduring flow, the soothing cadence lulls your thoughts into a drowsy calm. As the afternoon progresses, you visit a modern sewer facility, where the influence of the Cloaca Maxima is evident in centralized waste management. The air carries a faint chemical scent of treated water, mingled with the earthy tang of underground tunnels, reminiscent of Rome's ancient sewers. The soft hum of pumps and the gurgle of water through pipes create a repetitive soundscape echoing the Roman channels. Engineers, their boots tapping softly on concrete floors, inspect the system, their voices a low murmur as they discuss maintenance. Schedules, much like the foremen of ancient Rome, the Romans' concept of channeling waste away from cities, refined in the Cloaca Maxima, underpins these modern systems designed for efficiency and scale. A worker flushes a pipe, the faint splash blending with the hum of machinery, a sound rooted in Roman ingenuity. As you picture the steady flow through modern tunnels, the monotonous rhythm wraps around you, soothing your senses toward sleep. By late afternoon, you stand at an archaeological site where researchers uncover a section of a Roman aqueduct, its arches partially buried but still intact. The air carries the dusty scent of earth and ancient stone, mingled with the faint, grassy aroma of the surrounding fields. The archaeologist's tools, brushes, and small picks scrape softly against the stone, the sound blending with the rustle of wind through nearby trees. The aqueduct's concrete, still solid after centuries, glints with embedded pebbles, its surface rough yet enduring. A scholar, her voice low and deliberate, notes the precise angle of the arch, her words a soft murmur that echoes in the quiet site. The Romans' designs, rediscovered through careful excavation, continue to inform modern engineering, their efficiency a quiet marvel. As you imagine the archaeologist's meticulous work, the repetitive sounds and smells calm your thoughts, inviting rest. As evening settles, you stand by the Tiber River, where the Cloaca Maxima releases its flow, the water glinting in the fading light. The air is cool, carrying a faint, earthy scent of damp stone and distant waste, a reminder of the sewer's tireless work. The soft gurgle of the water, carrying away the city's refuse, blends with the rustle of leaves in the evening breeze, creating a soothing cadence. The Roman sanitation systems, from the Cloaca Maxima to the aqueducts, laid the foundation for modern urban infrastructure, their influence seen in cities worldwide. A distant worker, repairing a drain, taps his hammer softly, the sound echoing faintly along the riverbank. The legacy of Roman engineering, studied by engineers today, hums through the centuries. And as you picture the Tiber's steady flow, the monotonous rhythm pulls you closer to sleep. As night falls, you stand amid the ruins of an ancient aqueduct, its arches silhouetted against the moonlit sky. The air is cool, carrying the faint scent of earth and ancient stone, a reminder of the enduring legacy of Roman sanitation. The soft rustle of grass and the distant gurgle of water from a nearby stream echo the systems that once sustained Rome, the Cloaca Maxima and aqueducts, with their centralized management of water and waste, inspired modern sewer and water systems. Their durability, a quiet testament to Roman ingenuity. Engineers still marvel at the efficiency of these ancient designs, their principles woven into the fabric of today's cities. As you imagine the silent arches standing through time, the steady rhythm of their legacy wraps around you like a soft blanket, carrying your thoughts gently toward rest. As the first light of dawn spills across the 7 hills of ancient Rome, you stand near the entrance of the Cloaca Maxima, the great sewer system that embodies the Romans' striving for a cleaner world. The air is cool, carrying a faint, earthy scent of damp stone, mingled with the subtle tang of water flowing through the ancient channels below. The massive stone arches, weathered by centuries, stand resolute, their surfaces slick with moisture, and smoothed by time. Beneath the ground, the Cloaca Maxima hums with a soft, repetitive gurgle, its waters rushing toward the Tiber River, carrying away the city's waste with quiet efficiency. A worker, his tunic dusted with earth, sweeps debris from a drain, his broom scraping softly against the stone, a sound blending with the water's steady flow. The Romans' efforts to create a healthier environment reflect a universal human desire for order and comfort. And as you imagine the gentle ripple of water through the ancient tunnels, the soothing rhythm begins to lull your senses like a whispered lullaby coaxing you toward sleep. As morning unfolds, you step into a thermae, one of Rome's grand bathhouses, where the pursuit of cleanliness becomes a communal ritual. The air is warm, filled with the scent of steam and olive oil soap, while the tiled floor, heated by a hypocaust system, radiates a gentle warmth beneath your feet. The caldarium steaming pool glimmers in the dim light, its surface rippling, with each soft splash as bathhouses adjust their positions. A merchant, his tunic folded neatly, lounges in the water, his voice a low murmur as he discusses market prices, the sound blending with the faint gurgle of aqueduct-fed water. A slave uses a strigil to scrape sweat from a bathhista's skin, the metal tool gliding with a soft, repetitive scrape. The bathhouses, with their sophisticated plumbing, reflect Rome's commitment to hygiene, a desire shared across time, and as you picture the steam curling lazily upward, the monotonous hum of the thermae calms your thoughts, pulling you into a drowsy haze. By late morning, you arrive at a public fountain in a bustling Roman square, its marble basin filled with clear water from an aqueduct, a testament to the Romans' quest for a cleaner world. The air carries the fresh, mineral scent of the water, a stark contrast to the sour odor of nearby streets. Citizens gather with clay jugs, their voices a soft murmur as they fill their vessels, the water splashing gently with each pour. A child dips her hands in the basin, giggling as droplets scatter, the sound blending with the fountain's steady trickle. The aqueducts, stretching miles to deliver clean water, reduced disease and brought order to urban life, a goal echoed in modern water systems. A worker polishes the fountain's edge, his cloth rubbing with a soft, repetitive scrape, the sound merging with the water's flow. As you imagine the fountain's endless trickle, the soothing rhythm reflects humanity's desire for comfort, coaxing you toward rest. As noon approaches, you wander through the Subura, Rome's crowded, poorer district, where the challenges of maintaining cleanliness are ever present. The air is thick with the sour smell of refuse piled in corners, mingled with the damp odor of mud from last night's rain. The cobblestone streets, slick and uneven, are littered with scraps of food and broken pottery, a reminder of the sanitation struggles faced by many. Beneath the streets, the Cloaca Maxima gurgles softly, struggling to manage the district's waste, its sound a faint echo in the bustling alleys. A woman sweeps her doorstep, her broom scraping rhythmically against the stones, while a man empties a bucket into a drain, the soft splash blending with the distant hum of the city. Despite these challenges, the Romans' efforts to create a healthier environment shine through, and as you picture the steady gurgle of the sewers, the monotonous rhythm calms your mind, inviting sleep. By early afternoon, you shift to a modern water treatment plant where the Romans' legacy of centralized water management lives on. The air is cool, filled with the clean, metallic scent of filtered water flowing through pipes, a distant echo of the aqueduct's stone channels. The hum of machinery, a soft, repetitive drone, blends with the faint gurgle of water moving through treatment tanks. Engineers, their clipboards rustling softly, monitor gauges, their movements deliberate and methodical, much like the Roman workers who maintained the aqueducts. The concept of delivering clean water to urban populations, pioneered by Rome, is evident in the plant's intricate systems, designed for efficiency and comfort. A worker adjusts a valve, the soft clink of metal resonating faintly, a sound rooted in Roman ingenuity. As you picture the steady flow through modern pipes, the soothing rhythm reflects the universal desire for order, pulling you into a drowsy calm. As the afternoon progresses, you descend into a maintenance tunnel of the Cloaca Maxima, where workers ensure the sewer's continued function, a testament to Rome's enduring quest for cleanliness. The air is cool and damp, filled with the earthy scent of wet stone and the faint tang of flowing water. The massive stone walls, still standing after centuries, echo with a soft, repetitive gurgle as water rushes through the channel, carrying waste toward the Tiber. A worker, his torch casting a dim, flickering light, clears debris with an iron hook, its soft scrape blending with the water's flow. The Romans' sophisticated sewers, designed to manage waste on a grand scale, reflect their pursuit of a healthier environment, a goal mirrored in modern sanitation systems. The steady rhythm of the workers' tools and the water's gurgle creates a monotonous backdrop, and as you imagine the ancient sewer's tireless work, the soothing cadence lulls your thoughts toward rest. By late afternoon, you visit a modern sewer facility, where the influence of the Cloaca Maxima persists in centralized waste management. The air carries a faint chemical scent of treated water, mingled with the earthy tang of underground tunnels, reminiscent of Rome's ancient sewers. The soft hum of pumps and the gurgle of water through pipes create a repetitive soundscape, echoing the Roman channels. Engineers, their boots tapping softly on concrete floors, inspect the system, their voices a low murmur as they discuss maintenance. Much like the foremen of ancient Rome, the Romans' vision of channeling waste away from cities, refined in the Cloaca Maxima, underpins these modern systems, designed to ensure urban comfort. A worker flushes a pipe, the faint splash blending with the hum of machinery, a sound rooted in the human desire for order. As you picture the steady flow through modern tunnels, the monotonous rhythm wraps around you, soothing your senses toward sleep. As evening settles, you stand by the Tiber River, where the Cloaca Maxima releases its flow, the water glinting in the fading light. The air is cool, carrying a faint, earthy scent of damp stone and distant waste, a reminder of the sewers. Ceaseless work. The soft gurgle of the water, carrying away the city's refuse, blends with the rustle of leaves in the evening breeze, creating a soothing cadence. The Romans' efforts, from public baths to sophisticated sewers, reflect a universal human desire for a cleaner, more comfortable world, a goal that resonates in modern cities. A distant worker, repairing a drain, taps his hammer softly, the sound echoing faintly along the riverbank. The legacy of Roman sanitation, connecting past and present, hums through the centuries. And as you picture the Tiber's steady flow, the monotonous rhythm pulls you closer to rest. As night falls, you stand amid the ruins of an ancient aqueduct, its arches silhouetted against the moonlit sky. The air is cool, carrying the faint scent of earth and ancient stone, a reminder of Rome's enduring quest for cleanliness. The soft rustle of grass and the distant gurgle of water from a nearby stream echo the systems that once sustained the city. The Roman sanitation practices, from the quiet ripple of water in the Cloaca Maxima to the communal baths, show a society striving for order and comfort, a desire that lives on in modern sanitation systems. As you imagine the silent arches standing through time, carrying away the day's worries, the steady rhythm of their legacy wraps around you like a soft blanket, carrying your thoughts gently toward rest. As the moon rises over the quiet hills of ancient Rome, casting a silvery glow across the cobblestone streets, you find yourself standing once more by the Tiber River, where the Cloaca Maxima releases its steady flow. The air is cool, carrying the faint, earthy scent of damp stone, mingled with the gentle rustle of leaves in the evening breeze. The soft, repetitive gurgle of water echoes through the ancient sewer, a sound that has hummed through centuries, carrying away the cities. Worries with quiet determination. Throughout this journey, you've wandered through Rome's bustling latrines, where the gurgle of water and the murmur of voices blended into a soothing rhythm. You've lingered in the steamy thermae, where the warmth of heated pools and the scent of olive oil soap wrapped you in calm. You've walked along the towering arches of aqueducts, their endless trickle a testament to Roman ingenuity, and stood in the shadow of hospitals and scrolls, where physicians documented their quest for health. The Romans, despite their challenges, crowded streets, persistent diseases, and limited science strove for a cleaner, more orderly world. Their public baths, with their rippling pools and communal chatter, reflected a universal human desire for comfort. The Cloaca Maxima, with its enduring stone arches, and the aqueducts stretching across hills, showed a society determined to manage water and waste on a grand scale. Their early hospitals, the valetudinaria, and the meticulous texts of Galen laid the groundwork for public health, while their concrete and arches became blueprints for modern cities. Even now, as engineers study the efficiency of Roman designs, and archaeologists uncover their durable ruins, the legacy of Rome's sanitation hums quietly, connecting past to present. The gentle ripple of water through ancient channels mirrors the flow of modern pipes, a reminder that the quest for cleanliness is timeless, a steady pulse that soothes the mind. As you imagine the Tiber's waters glinting under the moonlight, the soft gurgle of the Cloaca Maxima fading into the night, let your thoughts drift toward rest. The Romans' efforts, though distant, echo in the order and comfort of our world today, their innovations a quiet foundation beneath our cities. Picture the steady flow of water, carrying away the day's cares, leaving only the calming hum of a world at peace. As you sink into this soothing rhythm, let the legacy of Rome wrap around you like a soft blanket, guiding you gently toward sleep. If this journey through Rome's sanitation has lulled you into a drowsy calm, consider subscribing to our channel for more tales of history's quiet marvels, each crafted to ease you into rest. In the comments below, share the time when you finished this story, whether it's the soft glow of evening or the stillness of midnight, connecting with others who've wandered these ancient streets. As the Tiber flows on, carrying the past into the present, let its gentle ripple carry you to a peaceful slumber.